A Court of Fairies and Fiction. ACOTAR Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel Liv and Ecca. A bookish theory and discussion podcast for the ACOTAR, Crescent City, and Tug series, as well as other romantasy books. Bonus episode, Announcement Clues Yap Fest.
All right, hello everybody. We are back.
Yeah.
My coworker asked me to work a double for him into the 5th, and I was like, I was like, do I really want to? I ended up taking it for him, unfortunately.
Aw, that was nice of you.
I know. I was like, well, if I work the midnight, I'll be up that morning if she posted that morning.
Yeah.
If not, I'm gonna miss it and I'm gonna be so pissed. Because I put my phone on silent when I go to sleep because I'm such a light sleeper.
Isn't there a way that you can make if this person calls me, it has to go through?
Yeah.
I would just do that and designate a person as
I can do not disturb, but then choose contacts in my phone or whatever. Yeah.
Just don't choose me because I don't follow Bloomsbury. So I learn when things start blowing up on Tumblr. I'm like, why the hell is everyone super busy on Tumblr? And then there was an announcement.
I always say the phrase double entendre, but it's more like a quintuple entendre here because first, okay, let's go over this. So Bloomsbury ships giant 7-foot book 1 ACOTAR books to some specific locations.
Yeah.
Now, none of these were signed except for one particular one that Steph, one of Sarah's friends and interviewers that I think I've talked about before, had shared the TikTok of whoever posted it originally from the bookstore that got it onto Instagram. And that's how everybody saw it because everybody follows her, obviously. And so she signed it on the first page of chapter 21 and it said, "I was a wolf and I bit when cornered." And so obviously, I had a million different things go run in my mind at the same time. So first I was like, oh, that's close to the Feyre quote. But then I was like, no, Feyre's done. It's not Feyre. And then I was like, oh, it's Tamlin. And then I was like, could be Tamlin, but Tamlin's more of a beast than a wolf. Mm-hmm. And then the second time I read it over where it said was, and the was is underlined and capitalized. And so is bit, which was weird. Then I was just like, all right, well, then that sounds like Nesta because then Nesta was like, oh, I was a wolf and I had claws and teeth. And I was like, So my line of thinking at first was Lucian because I go, okay, chapter 21 is Callan May. Callan May is tomorrow. Tomorrow must be the announcement. But it ends with Lucian and Feyre. Lucian spider monkeying her. It's my favorite scene.
Yeah.
And back to the manor. And I was like, all right, so it has to be, a Lucian spring court Callan May.
Yeah.
For the next book. And then one of my friends on Instagram commented and they were like, yeah, but did you forget that in Akasif, Gwen gives them the book of the Valkyries that she made and it opens on chapter 21 and it says, our stories are worth telling and there's more to come and all of this. And I go, oh, shit, that's right. And then chapter 21 of ACOTAR, which is the page that she signed, also opens with, Rhys after he says, I've been looking for you. It's the scene after that.
Yeah.
Because that ends chapter 20 where Feyre looks at him and then she's like, oh, his eyes were such a deep blue. And then I was like, all right, deep blue, Azrael's siphons, Gwen's invoking stone. Is it a Gwenreel book? And then on top of my second thought about the quote of Nesta, I was like, okay, so could be the Gwenreel Nesta book instead of the Lucian Tamlin book. So it's just all over the place because chapter 21's, which I saw somebody say or bring up, chapter 21s are always kind of a really important chapter for each of us. Because Maffet was Tart was Callan May, Maffet was the Weavers, ACOWAR.
I actually read ACOWAR. It's a hodgepodge of Feyre just being antsy because they're getting ready to go do something important for the war. So she first checks in with Amren, who's trying to train Nesta with her powers.
Nesta,
so that Nesta could find magical items.
Oh man!
To start sensing magical items because Amren was going to take Nesta into Hewn City into Kyr's
trove.
Not trove. It's his treasure cave.
Yeah.
And she wanted Nesta to start finding magical items so that she could find the cauldron.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know how to find the cauldron. So we check in there. Amran's all grumpy that Nesta's checking in with her. Then there's some kind of I only skimmed it.
Yeah.
But then there's some kind of conversation about the prison.
Yeah.
And then Feyre has these thoughts about Under the Mountain again with Amarantha, and we end the chapter with Feyre going, "No one's ever going to hurt Rhys that much again."
All right. This is not the foreshadow.
I think everyone was there because she mentions Cassian because she was training with Cassian that morning. Then she meets up with Amren and Nesta. She mentions Azriel's not in Night Court right now because he's spying on Autumn Court with all of his new intel from Lucien. Okay. And then she mentions the prison and she mentions Rhys. The only person not mentioned is Elaine.
And then Elaine is the chapter 21 ACOTAR one where she's like, "Do you want to tend to my little garden? And I need to do this and that and the next thing." And so then
that's my thing is chapter 21 of ACOTAR is where Elaine's foreshadowing is so heavy. And like, even though Elaine doesn't have a very heavy presence in ACOTAR, that chapter was Elaine's chapter. That's why
it's so interesting because I feel like she knew. Like, come on, Sarah knows how deep we go into this shit. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign it on chapter 21 because there's a chapter 21 Gwen thing and a chapter 21 Elaine thing." And she's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And I was
this is the same thing that we say about the damn title. So they're going to announce the goddamn book without a title because that's what they did for Crescent City 3.
They did that with ACOFAS too. She had to guess the title thing for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then for 15 days later for Crescent City 2, they released the title, which is just this third house, which everyone knew it was going to be the third house anyway. But it doesn't give anything away of what exactly is going to happen. But we kind of knew because it was like a cliffhanger from book 2 into book 3.
But see, this is what's so weird.
She's going to release it. They're not going to give us a title. 15 days later, they're going to give us a title, and it's going to be something stupid like Light and Shadow. And we're going to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You know?
It's going to be like, no, it's going to be like even more vague than that.
It's going to be like something like...
No, well, also, this is why I think it's...
A court of the sun and the moon.
Yeah. Well, this is why I think it's going to follow Nesta's template because Nesta's was just about her magic. So I feel like Elaine's is just going to be about her magic. And that's why we're not going to know who the fuck the love interest is.
We didn't have to discover Cassian's magic. Cassian knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Lucien
he doesn't really have anything.
Lucien has a huge storyline that they have to go into. He doesn't know his heritage. Well, we assume he doesn't know his heritage.
Yeah.
Okay. If he does have an idea of what his heritage is, he was never trained in day court magic.
Yeah.
And he has to learn day court magic. And
a court of golden sight. I'm calling it right now for both of them. Seer and seer. Golden eye, golden everything. Sunshine.
Yes. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a vague fucking title. And I think it's just going to keep, like, people are going to be like, oh, we don't, like, it could be either one of them, or it could be all, like, any one of the three. And then it's going to not be until 2 months later, I think, is when we get, like, a little excerpt or a summary of the book. And then we'll find out who the two characters are.
It would actually be on par for it to be, as we were saying, the summer solstice.
Yeah.
Elaine's birthday. The longest day of the year, you know.
I hope she's on the summer solstice.
I hope so.
I really do. Because we have such symbolism about freaking Feyre being a night court queen.
Yes.
That we should also have the same symbolism for Elaine to be the night court queen. You know? And I don't know if
Nesta's the dust court queen. Like, it makes sense.
Like, I don't understand why they never delved into Nesta's birthday. And
it's like, Elaine got her this scarf for her birthday in mid-spring. I was like,
but I mean, who was talking about that? Was that Feyre's
no, that was Nesta. Or no, it was Cassian. It was Cassian because she grabs the thing off the hook, the scarf off the hook, and he said, "Oh, that blue scarf that Elaine had gifted her for her birthday last spring."
Oh, okay. Because
or this past spring, so it was like a couple months before. So I was like, "Fuck, we didn't get any. Why?"
Yes, we should get more information because Feyre threw away her birthday. She's like, "Oh, it's not an important date." And then when freaking Rhys found out it was the longest night of the year, he's like, "You were born for me, for my court."
Yeah,
you know, and we were always meant to be. The mother always wanted us to be together. You know, and that made me like happy. I do like symbolism,
which is why it makes sense for Elaine, and it would even like make sense for Nesta to have like been born, you know, in the evening during dusk, like something, like give us something. I was mad that they skipped over her birthday. I was so mad.
Yeah, I sometimes I feel like birthdays are important. Like not everyone's, but when you have really strong magical people who are making a difference in the world, I want to know their birthdays and why their birthdays are the way they are.
I don't think Sarah just. I don't think she likes writing big parties because she's like, oh, I hate writing weddings, and it's only, like she only did Lydia and Runes. I don't like, I'll never write a wedding, and then like she never really writes birthdays, except even that's why she had Feyre be like, oh, I don't really care about it. And then they had like food, and then they skipped right to gifts, and then she like fast forwarded through the gifts. So it's like I feel like she doesn't know how to like write elongated party scenes, which I do get because I actually wrote a Gwynreal wedding for one of my fics, and it was like fucking pulling teeth. I like spent months on that one chapter. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I actually did a reel when I was writing it, and I go, I will never complain about Sarah not writing a wedding ever again. But that's a lie, because I will. But it's so hard.
Like, I'm fine with not getting a really big party, a really big wedding. I would like a beautiful description of the gown and who was in service there, like who showed up, because sometimes the guest list is like so important.
Well, I feel like for Feyre and like Nessian, if it happened, I'm still not convinced it did, but if it did, I feel like with Faizan and Nessian, like we didn't really need to go through the motions with their weddings, whatever. Yeah. But with Aleutian and like Gwynreal, it's way more important. Firstly, because for Gwynreal, like Gwen's a priestess, that's gonna be a big thing. She's a priestess, Yeah. But both Lucien and Azriel, and obviously Gwen too, but both Lucien and Azriel have been, praying to the mother and saying like, by the mother, thank the mother, by the cauldron, cauldron boil me. Like they're both pretty devout in their religion, right? And so then we have Gwen, who's a priestess, and then we have Elaine and Akawar, when their father dies, she says, oh, why don't we say a couple prayers? And Pharaoh was like, this is really weird because we don't have like gods or anything to pray to in the mortal. Yeah. He's like, I don't know why she would want to say a prayer. And she made it feel like it was really weird, but Elaine is trying to come to terms with being Fae. And she's trying to, be devout to their god and,
and celebrate their holidays. Like, we know that the humans don't have holidays.
So I feel like
Elaine embraced that fucking holiday 3 months after being made. So much. That just proves that she is determined to get past her trauma and figure out how to live her life, this new life of hers. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with her.
And it makes sense for that scene to be kind of the pivotal moment of where she's like, oh, maybe if I, do pray to their god, my father will have an easier passing or something like it. Because she was close to Papa Archer on, she put the flowers on his chest and all that stuff. Yeah. But I'm like, classic fucking Feyre, that she's just diminishing everybody's feelings all the time in her head except for her. Yeah. It's just wild. I was like, if she wants to pray, just let her pray.
Didn't she pray for the Sorial?
Probably. I maybe.
I need to go back and reread it. If you pray for that Sorial and she got like grumpy about praying for her father, I'm gonna be
really for real. I know. I think she actually did. Yeah, I think she did.
Or maybe
she sent up a prayer to the mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So you prayed for the Sorial, but you like scoffed at your sister. You gave your sister a weird look for asking for a prayer for your dead father, who brought armies and helped you win this goddamn war.
That just makes sense that Elaine and Lucien are meant for each other, and Gwen and Azriel are meant for each other. But
doesn't Lucien show up and actually, like, maybe I'm projecting. Doesn't Lucien show up and he kind of like also sends up a prayer for their father?
He steps up like right after she does it. He comes up and sees it. So he probably did, but he was like, oh, he was a good man. Like he was saying some words about him.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, so I'm like, Sarah is like purposely fucking with us. And I said that this was really ironic because the quote that she signed, I'm like, it's not even anybody, it's her. Mm-hmm. I was underlined a wolf, and I bit back when cornered. Yeah, she bit back because everyone's been fucking on her ass, and she's like, guess what? You get nothing. You.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when you were deep diving, like, okay, where does this chapter 21 meet up with these other chapter 21s? I was like, just watch. And you're like, Sarah pays attention to her fandom. They know that we deep dive into everything that she does. I was like, just watch. She's just being a troll because she dissect everything.
I know.
Like everything.
Oh, I don't pay attention to social media. Bullshit.
She might not pay attention to social media, but she knows they dissect everything that she does.
And she has said that. Oh, A+ for careful reading. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. I still don't understand that one all that much. like when she says that to the person who's like, well, do light singers have like a different form? I'm like, I don't understand this, because we know light singers are bad. They're evil creatures.
The question was that if Gwen is part light singer, like part
Which
light singer,
not.
and we know that, and we know light singers do have like a beast form, like an evil form. They said, oh, are shadow singers like a counterpart to light singers? And if so, does Azrael have a beast form? And then she was like, A+ for careful reading. And I was like,
okay, so it was about Azrael. Okay.
And this is why I think he's descended from Adis. I think he's a prince of hell.
I was going to say that. I was thinking this the other day, and I was like, oh, I need to throw this at Mel. She probably has a reel for it.
I do.
But I was like, what if Azrael is another experiment, or a descendant
He's a test tube baby. Yeah.
From a prince of hell?
Oh, I have two different reels. I have two different deep dive reels about that, because I did the sense one, the cedar sense one, because I said the people with cedar sense are test tube babies, which is Hunt, Azrael, and Tamlin.
Okay.
They all have weird different powers. And then I said the lilac is the Starborn, or could be Starborn, or the strongest Starborn. And then I did a reel on Azrael being descended from Adis as like the test tube baby for Adis, because obviously we know Thanatos and Apollyon were Hunts. So I think maybe Adis and perhaps Koshi could be Azrael's, because again, him and Koshi have the same shadows, and Adis actually has dark shadows too. I don't know if they're sentient. I don't think he really uses them that much, but what he does use a lot is his frost magic, because the room goes freezing cold, things frost over, and when Bryce and Hunt are in hell, that's the first thing they feel. And even when we get the perspective of, I think it's Baxian and Rune, when they're watching Hunt and Bryce's bodies as they're, in stasis in hell.
Yeah, they're freezing.
Frost all over them.
Yeah.
And so they get to hell and it's like frosty and all this stuff. And then...
Well, that does go into Dante's Inferno. Have you ever read Dante's Inferno? The 7th level of hell is frozen.
Yeah.
And people are always like, oh, hell is hot. I was like, no, if we read Dante's Inferno, then the 7th level of hell is frozen.
Ice. Yeah. So Azrael, especially in Akafast, Frost and Starlight, his eyes frost over. And, Reese is just talking about, his icy rage, and, the temperature tends to drop and all this stuff. And then we get the bonus chapter with Gwen, and she's like, oh, Azrael says, oh, it's cold out. You should go inside or whatever after a little bit. Don't stay out too long. And she's like, oh, once you start moving, you stop noticing it. So I was like, that's another Gwenrael thing, because Azrael tends to be icy and frozen, and his shadows are cool, and the temperature drops around him. And Gwen's just like, I stop noticing it once I start moving. She's not bothered. Okay, as like Elsa, the cold never bothered me anyway. Yeah. That's Gwen. So she's literally, and also just the priestess and hell thing, I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I do like that.
It was hilarious. But yeah, he's just very,
I mean, it also has a very it's not as Persephone, like the kidnapping of Persephone as Greece and Thera, but I mean the hell and the goddess of light.
Yeah.
Is very
shadow. There's a whole scene of the moonlight shining off of her blade like chips of ice. And I was like, more ice. More ice. It's quite real.
Okay. What else was I gonna say about this? Okay, I don't feel like Gwen emanates sunlight like Lucian.
No, moonlight, cool.
It's it's cool light. It's not. It
is moonlight to shadow.
Yeah. And I'm hoping people understand that when they read it.
I see Elaine as golden sunshine, and I see Gwen as bright white moonlight, ice and warmth, flames and frost.
Okay,
which matches their mates, so makes sense.
Have you seen A Court of Thoughts?
Probably.
Post.
We all go back and forth.
Yeah, we all go back and forth. But have you seen her post about the special edition Night Court covers?
I've seen so many of them. Maybe.
Okay. So I'm looking at them right now. And The special edition Night Court
I just want to
covers.
say they were advertised as shiny silver foil, and they are not.
Well,
they are lame.
The first three, their covers are very blah. There's nothing really standing out for them. Like for A Court with Thorn and Roses, the thing that's highlighted is the arrow.
Yeah.
Then it's the ring for Mist and Fury, and then it looks like Truth Teller for the third one.
Yeah.
But have you seen the one for Frost and Starlight and for Silver Flames?
I mean, Flames, I would assume it would be the mask, but is it the sun on the mask?
No, it's the eyeballs.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah, I did see that. And
so
I was
it's like, the eyes for the mask,
eyes.
But it's the sun for Frost and Starlight in the middle
of the sunflower.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't think
it's the middle of it, right?
Yeah, it's the middle of this flower that's emanating that looks like a sun. Which, first of all, I never really paid attention to what was on the cover of Frost and Starlight. So I never noticed.
I think I sent you my reel on that when I was when I did my deep dive on how every time somebody draws Rune Danon, his tattoos are flowers. And how I said that, I think Tamlin's his father, and it's always roses. Usually it's roses, but it's always some type of flower. And so I went into how Frost and Starlight had a flower on the cover, which was really weird. And I pointed out things in Frost and Starlight that kind of connects this. Like in terms of like Tamlin, because obviously he's super shitty to Tamlin. And I was saying how he purposely skirts around apologizing for the mom, which would be the sister, which would be Rune's mom.
Yeah.
And that's how I equated that with like Rune, the flowers and everything. But yeah, I was like, it's so weird that there's a flower on Frost and Starlight, and I never understood why. And like now it's coming back around to Rune motherfucking Danon because his mom.
See, that just went over my head. I didn't notice that part.
Because his mom was Tamlin's lover.
But now that I think of the flower on Frost and Starlight and the sun in the middle of the flower.
Hey, you made it.
Like Elaine and Lucien aren't huge in Frost and Starlight, but they have major moments. Okay. Elaine's spending time with Feyre. She makes her a birthday cake. She's accepting her fatum. Like her Fey world.
Fayness,
yeah. She got Azriel a gift, which nobody was expecting. She pretty much got everyone a gift, almost.
Yeah. She actually says, I always thought that she didn't, but I went back and I read it, and she does actually thank Lucien. It's not enthusiastic, but she does.
Yes. And, like, she's the one that pointed out the tapestry to Feyre. Like, things do catch her eyes.
And that's the scene, that's also the scene when she's like, perhaps giving gifts is like a testament to their holiday, and celebrating them is celebrating the people who died.
Yeah, because
super introspective.
Because Feyre's struggling to buy gifts, and she's just like, I just don't understand this. And Elaine, who's been a Fae,
we're talking about your baby Ecca.
She's always been a gift giver.
I was wondering where you were. I was like, I saw your name.
Yeah.
I sound like a prepubescent teenage boy, but that's okay.
Okay, so
you showed up. That's okay.
I wanted to get in on the action.
Yay!
But like, let's also look at this. Feyre's been a Fae for over 6 months. Okay, and she has embraced her title as High Lady of the Night Court, and she knows.
I think it was like, wasn't it like a year by Frost and Starlight? Because then, it must be, because that's when. Is that when Rhys mentions forgetting to take away her pain during her period?
I don't remember.
I hate him. It is. And then in ACOTAR, he forgets for the birth too. And I'm like, you're such an asshole. Oh, I'm the most powerful High Lord, but I forget I have powers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. But yeah, like Feyre's been a Fae for over a year now. And she's still struggling to accept like Fae traditions. And freaking Elaine's been a Fae for 3 months. And she's just like, yeah, we just have to buy gifts for people.
Let's send up a prayer to the mother when our dad dies.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like so into it.
We'll come back to it, Ecca, so you can hear what we said. But yeah, so Elaine's like all for it. She's perfectly okay getting everyone gifts that she knows enough that she can get a gift for, and I think that's amazing for her. That just shows like how much of an intuitive person she is, that she just can be like, yeah, gift giving sounds normal, And
also too, when she was human, she got Feyre gifts.
Yes.
So like she's a natural gift giver. That's her love language.
It is.
That's why I get so frustrated when she like gets kind of annoyed that Lucien's giving her a gift. It's like, this is your fucking love language. Be appreciative. God damn it. What is your problem?
But this is also the book that we first see Elaine kind of being assertive too. Like Feyre confronts her over how she was treating Lucien, and she's just like, you cannot tell me what to do.
She was pissed.
Yeah.
And she is feisty.
That does not mean I owe him my time or affections.
Exactly. So like this book was important for Elaine because this is the first time we got to see Elaine talk back. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, she said things before, like to Nesta, we should do this for Feyre. Or she said to Cassian, Nesta wasn't alone in not doing things when we were living in the cottage, you know? And yes, she did wish for the queens to go. What?
Sorry, I just had a little epiphany while you were talking.
Yes, she did say,
you had an exclamation point. You had an exclamation point.
No, okay, really quick. You were talking about what was highlighted on the ACOTAR covers.
Yeah.
And so I just realized something. So the first one is the arrow, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the book, Tamlin is stabbed in the heart by the ash dagger, which could have been an arrow, right? Whatever. And then that leads to her fallout with Tamlin. And then the second book is The Ring, where she gets married to Rhys. And then the third book is Truth Teller, in which they killed the king with Truth Teller. Mm-hmm. And then the fourth book is The Sun, in which, you know, Elaine kind of gets her gumption back or whatever.
Yeah.
But also that leads into, that's the bridge to Akasif, and there's the sun on the mask, right? Yeah. Which is like also Helian's thing. But then on Akasif, it's the eyes. So does this mean it's leading to Elaine's seer book?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. We have the eyes leading into the seers. Why are the eyes highlighted? Because she's a seer.
Like, I know, well, it could have been like, oh, the mask, and then led into Hofast, Nesta used the mask again, but I was like...
But I also believe, like, the sun being highlighted in Fast and the eyes being highlighted in Sif is important because it's leading us into the Lucien book.
Wait, where do you get that from? Like,
the new special edition Night Court books. Their covers are black and silver, but certain parts of the picture are foiled white.
Yeah. So like the arrow, the ring, the dagger, the middle of the flower, which looks like a sun, and the eyes of the mask.
And the dagger has like the worst foiling because it's just like little lines in the dagger's hilt. It's not the whole dagger. Like it's not the blade of the dagger. It's just like little parts of the dagger.
It has to be the hilt because it wasn't made when she, well, that's a whole discussion.
Yeah.
we've been over that.
But the big thing is when you look at Frost and Starlight's front cover for this special edition Night Court books, the sun is in the middle of the daisy, flower,
the flower, sunflower,
but that sun is so heavily highlighted, like it's in your face. And then if you go into Silver Flames, it's the mask, but what's highlighted for the mask is the eyes, not the sun emblem, which is like in your face. It's the eyes instead, like
they're like totally filled in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's weird that the sun is blacked out instead of, I don't know, I thought that was weird.
It is, but Elaine,
I knew it. I was like, I'm gonna say this, and she's gonna think of something.
Elaine does not have her visions right now because her sun is blacked out.
Guys,
what can blind an oracle?
I knew it.
It's an eclipse.
It's an eclipse. Yes. The moon. Okay, the moon over the sun. A Aleutian Gwynriel omnibus.
Oh my gosh, yes. The moon is blocking out the sun because she's stuck in the fucking moon court.
It's gonna be Gwynriel. Wait, okay, what if it is an omnibus, but it's like the Gwynriel story and then leading into the Aleutian story, but one giant book?
I mean, she did say
that's what I mean, like omnibus, like one giant book.
She did say it was a big book.
A long book. And they are all four of them individually are connected to Koshi.
No,
yes.
I feel like
but she said it would be like over 1,000 pages.
I feel like if Nesta and Cassian can fill up almost 900 pages, Elaine and Lucien can fill up 1,000. At least Nesta and Cassian are fucking talking. Elaine and Lucien aren't even talking.
Wait. You forgot to put
goddamn court.
You forgot to put "and" in there. They're fucking and talking.
They're fucking and talking. Yes, like
but Kingdom of Ash is, I think, 1,000 pages. 1,000.
Yeah, it's like 980 something, like almost 1,000.
Whose love story is Kingdom of Ash, or is it just a montage?
It's multi POV.
It's multi POV,
but like third person.
But we're not getting a multi POV. We're getting a 2-person POV.
Yeah.
So who is it?
But that's why I'm like, what if it's 2 books mushed together, and that gives her a whole other book in this contract.
But that makes Lucian and Elaine's story 500 pages. And
no, because if it's a super long book, if she's saying super long book, like Kingdom of Ash was long at almost 1,000. If she's saying super long, this book is at least 1,500 pages.
She's never wrote a dual love story in one book before. You have to dedicate your time and patience to one love story's journey.
Like, no, I know, that's what I'm saying, but
I really would hate it if I get 5 pages of Lucian staring at Elaine and her giving him side eye, and then all of a sudden,
no,
going back to Gwen and
no, that's not what I mean. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, if we get like an entire Lucian book and an entire Gwenriel book, not like back and forth within the whole book. I just meant like back to back in one book. Because that's what an omnibus is. It's all of the different books just back to back.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I don't like that either.
I just want Lucian to have their own book with their cover, and I want Gwenriel to have their own book with their own cover.
I know, but regardless of who's next, we're going to have to wait at least 7 years for that.
That's fine. Azrael can wait.
No!
He's waited 500 years.
No!
Yeah.
Exactly!
No! Lucian has waited
for
an entire person dying on him. Lucian deserves happiness before Azrael.
Hey, Azrael is older.
It doesn't matter.
Lucian is baby.
Lucian is baby.
And nobody puts baby in the corner.
Lucian had love removed from him by force.
He already has a mate.
Oh, Azrael decided to worship the ground more walked on.
Mm.
There's a difference.
But, I mean, maybe. I feel like he might think that she's sus. Again, the only thing I go back to is the fact that Gwen and Azrael already have started a thing, and Lucian and Elaine have not yet. Even though Lucian and Elaine are, you know, mates, and it has snapped, and Gwenriel hasn't, but they all snap at different times. So I'm like, I don't know. And then again, Gwen and Azrael have POVs, have bonus chapters. Elaine has none. But is it that she's leading into Azrael's story, or is she giving us Azrael to feed us until his story? It's like she's fucking with us, and I hate it.
I'm fine with her giving us just little bits of Azrael. I think she's been holding back on Elaine and Lucian for a reason, to build that tension with the readers, to make them finally get that release that they've been looking for, when we finally get into their heads and they finally start talking and they finally spend time together. Like,
but
there's a buildup that you have to have for your readers to actually be invested in the book that has to come.
But that's why she also gave us Gwenriel crumbs. That's what I'm just saying.
I'm not invested in Gwenriel. I'm invested.
I am. I'm invested in both of them. I don't give a fuck. I just want a book. Give me a book.
I just want a book.
I just want a book right now.
But like, okay, so it just bothers me because like there's just so much Azrael in Akasif, and there's so much Azrael in Hofas, and I don't know. There's all those questions with Gwen too, which I've said all of this already. But
here's the thing. Why is Sarah being so fucking sneaky?
She's doing it on purpose. Anything. She's being a troll.
She is being a troll because we saw from Waterstones. Oh, it's tea time. It's our tea time alarm. Like, what?
Oops, I spilled the tea, literally.
and then she signs a 7-foot book.
Yeah.
Did anyone like try and catch her and be like, hey, you're kind of being the serial right now. Ma'am,
on purpose.
Where is our book announcement?
Yeah.
It's on purpose.
So
no, I would actually love if she just dropped the rest of the 3 books. And it's like, look, I'm not writing another ACOTAR book for 10 years. That would be fine if she dropped all 3 fucking books at once. So we could just know. Mm-hmm. Drop them all. Drop Illusions, drop Gwenriel's, and drop Moore's. And then be done with ACOTAR for another 10 years and then do a contract and do some novellas. Like,
no, it's still bitch.
I have a question. So did she show up to sign that book, or was it already signed when it got
It was already signed.
And we didn't find out about it being signed until like 3 days after they put them up? Did they not?
I want to know what location got it.
Yeah. It's like
updates got it.
Let me check.
It's like a golden ticket.
I know, right? Like, where are you? Let me check the TikTok because
I would think if you get the promo prop, and it's this big ass tar book.
Yeah.
You didn't open, like, did they just not open it for 3 days? And Waterstone had to be like, you do know you need to open your book, right?
Okay, it says I was underlined a wolf and I bit when cornered. SJM with a heart.
Yeah.
And then it pisses me. Okay. It pisses me off, but the bookmark
because it's from ACOMAF.
No, the bookmark is a fucking more quote. And it's been pissing me off ever since we saw these giant fucking things. That's why I'm like, is she just gonna drop all 3? I wanted to just drop all 3. Just drop all 3.
She's trolling. She's trolling. So that we
trolling.
can be clowns. We're clowning.
She is trolling. Now.
Ecca. So earlier, me and Mel were talking about Papa Archeron's death, and Mel brought up the fact like Elaine was more. So Elaine asked for a prayer to be sent up for Papa Archeron.
Oh, we did a whole episode on this.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
We did. We ranted about it because she was like, "Are you saying Elaine is as devout as Lucian?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Did you bring in the cereal part? Okay, so here's where we got really into it. So like Mel is like, yeah, and then Feyre gives her like a side eye for wanting to do a prayer. Like that's not something humans do, even though they're now Fae anyway. And I was like, didn't Feyre send up a prayer for the cereal when the cereal died? So she'd rather put a prayer up for the cereal than for her own father.
And also the blue fairy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did it for the blue fairy too. And she was human for that one.
I'm curious. I actually did I forgot that I did a TikTok. When was it? I'll have to look. It might have been on my old TikTok, but I have it on Instagram too. But like a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago or something, I just randomly did like a reel where I was like, you know what? I would be fine with her just dropping the last 3 and waiting another 10 years to do another 3. Because then
I don't want to wait 10 years.
No, because then she has Twilight of the Gods and she has the next Crescent City, and then maybe she'll do more Crescent City books. And so we'd have stuff to fill the time, but we would also have all 3 ACOTAR books to analyze 12 times as well.
Yeah.
For another 10 years. So
I don't think she can write that fast, because I personally think Asriel and Gwenriel's book will probably be around 700 to 800 pages.
Like yeah, maybe.
It just depends on what.
I don't want to wait that long for Gwen. I love Gwen. She's my favorite. She is my favorite character. Female character. She's my favorite female character. Lucian's my favorite male character. But therein lies the issue.
Yeah.
She is my favorite female character. I want her story. He is my favorite male character. I want his story. What the fuck?
Lucian and Elaine are my favorite characters. I just want their story. End the story.
I need Elaine to show more spine, and then I will love her a little more.
I love what she's already shown. I am like, what?
I like her. No, I like her. She's just like, I need more.
I feel like I've gotten plenty I have an idea of who Elaine is.
Oh, yeah. I do. Yeah.
She has filled her cookie jar enough for me to go, okay, yeah, I can start eating some cookies.
I think what really put me off, I think what really pissed me off, which I've said before, obviously, but what really pissed me off is just how she treated Nesta. So I was like, I'm still carrying a grudge. I'm such a Taurus. I'm like, fuck you. And fuck you.
Fair.
I'm like, you're fucking taking our house away and telling her, it's been a year, get over it. You're not even fucking over it, bitch. Hell, are you kidding me right now? Just when she said it's been a year, I literally had to put my book down and like scream into my pillow. I'm like, are you kidding me with the hypocrisy, Elaine? Are you not seeing this? I can't. And then when she went crying to Rhys because she knew Rhys hated Nesta, and I go, see, you're a little fucking fox as well. You're a clever little fucking sneaky ass fox. You're going to the one person that hates her the most because you're mad at her. Bothered me.
I mean, she didn't have any other option to get off the freaking House of Wind.
I know, but like I was like,
accuse her, and Nesta did just give her the worst accusation ever for a man that she loves deeply in her heart, and she knows Nesta hated with all of her heart.
Oh, you mean karma for taking her safe space away while you still have yours?
Well, I mean, personally, I mean, Nesta decided to live that way, and Elaine.
I know. Well, let her live that way. Don't take her house away behind her back when she's not there. Like, this is how I'm a little bit like Amryn. Like, I do not like people touching my stuff. My room is a fucking tornado. But like, if my aunt touches my stuff, like I will know if you touch my stuff. Like I can understand the rage. Like you touched my shit when I wasn't there. Oh, we packed her up. Don't touch my stuff. What? I just the rage through the pages when I read that they touched her shit and then demolished her building. What? She didn't even get
that's traumatic.
Trauma. Like I would absolutely lose my shit if I came home to no house.
Well,
like,
she didn't get to go home.
Where is my house?
She didn't really get to go home. She had to leave the river house.
They stole her first. Oh, we're trapping you here. And now we're trapping you here. Good fucking luck to you. With the guy that just wants to fuck you, knowing your trauma. Like, I was so pissed that whole book.
Oh.
I was so mad.
I was not.
That's why I was like, the only thing that made that book better was the Valkyries. Like, that is why I read that book. They're my thing. They're like the best thing in ACOTAR to me, aside from Tamlin and Lucian, because I love their friendship, or I loved their friendship before Feyre fucking destroyed that too. But like the friendships, I like the friendships. But what are you gonna do? I can't wait to have a romance that I actually enjoy, since Phazan and Nessian were fucking shit. If she ruins Lucian's character,
I'll be so pissed.
I would be too.
If she makes him
jealous
like Rhys and Cassian, I'm going to fly off the fucking handle.
Yeah.
Same with Azriel. Because him and Lucian are the most, like, with people they love, they are the most moral characters with people they love.
Yeah. She's written Lucian to be such a gentleman so far that I just don't understand how she could actually turn him into a bat boy, which is aggressive.
Well, look what she did. I mean, obviously, aside from the bonus chapter, but like, look at Cassian to like Feyre and everyone. I
still struggle to understand why SJM did that to Cassian. Yeah. Why did she make him so sexually aggressive? You know, like, I just don't understand why.
There is no trauma to justify that for him.
I mean, I've even listened to other podcasts where they love the Bat Boys, and even they bring up the fact, like in that bonus chapter for the first time ever, and Cassian touches Nesta without her permission. They even go, "Who the fuck is this Cassian?"
Yeah,
Cassian has always been a respectable male.
When she's like, "Don't touch me," and he literally grabs her and pins her to him, and then is like, "Oh, what's up your skirts?" I was like, "What the fuck?
Who is this?"
Yeah,
this is like gentle giant Cassian. Like, he's always been like. I loved how Cassian treated Feyre, because
I thought he was so funny with Feyre. Yeah,
to me, Cassian was Lucian.
Yeah,
like, Sarah even had him take Lucian's quote about, "Oh, we won't bite unless you ask." Like, Lucian had one very similar.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh, but yeah.
But like, when I read Cassian in math and even in war and how he would be with Feyre, I always was like, you're so gentleman-like with her. You kiss her on the cheek. You treat her like a sister, which is how I always read Lucian and Feyre in Tar.
I mean, that's kind of like my super secret crack ship.
Cassian and Feyre?
Famous. Yeah.
So I just was like, I don't understand why we had to get super sexually aggressive Cassian with Nesta. I was like, SJM, do you not understand how not to do sexual aggression?
It's gross. That's why I'm going to be so mad if she ruins Lucian and Azriel.
And then you get fucking CC, and none of the guys are sexually aggressive.
You already did with Azriel.
What
was that?
That bonus chapter with Azriel and Elaine, that was weird.
Yeah.
No, that's different because Elaine gave permission and she wanted that. I don't like Elaine, but Elaine was all in on that, okay?
Okay, I don't blame Elaine for offering a kiss or even offering herself to Azriel. It's how Azriel was documenting it in his head that I get, you're a little possessive. Because he's like, oh, I can't wait to see what her face looks like as I enter her. I'm like, really?
And when he was like, what if the cauldron was wrong? What if she's actually my mate? Like,
that part, I'm just like, all right, everybody else has had their scene of rage. Azriel's having his little venting scene.
Yeah.
He's saying shit that he doesn't mean because he's fucking pissed, and I get it. So that was fine. Like, the Elaine and Azriel thing, obviously I hate them, but like, she gave her permission, obviously, so whatever. But
here's the thing. Elaine is pissed because people are like, oh, you should be with Lucien. And she's like, he doesn't, I don't owe him anything.
Yeah.
What's to say that she can't feel the same way about Azriel? She doesn't owe him anything.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that they're actually mates and they're not.
The thing that nobody talks about, that is the only thing about that chapter with Elaine and Azriel that actually truly pisses me off, is that he says to her, this was a mistake. And he could have said anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else. But he had to make her feel like a mistake. And I know that maybe he didn't truly mean it that way. But because he's like, oh, don't apologize after. Because I think he's like, fuck, like, I actually really hurt her. And I don't think he meant to. But just the way that he worded that was awful, because he could have been like, oh, I can't do this, or oh, this is wrong, or you have a mate. Like, out of everything he could have said, he had to say, this is a mistake.
Okay, so this is one thing I do like about SJM.
Yeah.
I allow men to stumble over their words and to put their foot in their mouth. And I don't like it when fandoms hate male characters because they say bad things. I'm like, have you never been in a fight or been so hyped up that you just spurt out the first thing that comes out of your mouth?
Oh, and that's how I see his entire rageful interaction with Rhys.
Yeah. But the fandom gets pissed at Tamlin for putting his foot in his mouth. The fandom gets pissed at Hunt for putting his foot in his mouth. And if
Azriel,
Lucien puts his foot in his mouth, they're going to be mad at him. But Cassian's allowed to put his foot in his mouth, and it's okay. Like, they don't get as mad. And it's like, no, you have to forgive these guys. Like, I 100% see Cassian's moment where he's like, I'm shackled to you, as him putting his foot in his mouth. I understand it was the
you get one strike with me as a man against your partner, one, and that was like his fifth, so I do not that. You got one fucking strike, bro, and that bonus chapter did not do you any favors. You had 0 strikes left, and you are at like -12 right now.
I have to hold on to the Cassian that SJM first introduced me to and be like, I don't know what the hell SJM was thinking with the Cassian she wrote for Nesta. The Cassian she wrote for Feyre was amazing.
The Cassian she wrote for Nesta is gonna get killed off. That's why.
I don't want that. I just want him to go back to the correct Cassian.
He's not going to. I swear. She made him worse for
like Cassian was my second favorite character.
Oh no.
Like, all the times. Even before Eris.
Dude, do you know how many times Olivia begged for someone like-minded to be on the podcast with her, and she's not able to be on when you're on? Like, you two against me and Ecca. Begged.
One day the two of us will be on at the same time.
One day. Oh no. But yeah, it's like Azriel gets a lot of slack for the bonus chapter with being entitled, and he sounded disgusting.
Hell, people call Lucien entitled for showing up on Solstice.
Oh, they call him entitled for saying, I'm getting my mate back. And then because Feyre's like, oh, a mate already going wild for what's his. And they take that as gospel, and they're like, he only wants her because he thinks he's owed her. And I'm like,
do we not remember how Rhys talks about Feyre, or how Feyre talks about Rhys? Like, come on.
They'll forgive Rhys for everything that they will not extend to any other character, not even Azriel.
Oh my god, this is one of the best conversations I ever had with one of my friends, and she's like a super anti-Tamlin person.
I can't.
So I was talking to her, and this was in the beginning stages of me reading, like me just finishing ACOTAR.
My rage factor.
She's like, I just struggle with Tamlin because like he'll hurt people just to have Feyre. I'm like, Rhys said he would burn down the world for Feyre. And she's like, don't make me think.
That's the problem with these fucking people. They don't think.
Don't make me think about this right now. I'm like, but
dude, you need to make that a quote and be like, oh, the Faizan motto. Don't make me think.
Don't make me think. I'm like, you can't be mad at Tamlin for wanting to burn the world down to save Feyre, and not be mad at Rhys for wanting to burn the world down to save Feyre. Like, and she's like, don't make me think.
But that's also like the Elriels. Oh, I'm getting her back from Azriel is so hot and so sweet, but I'm getting my mate back from Lucien is so possessive.
Yes.
It's the double fucking standards. I hate it.
I know. I've even seen them be like, if Lucien really loved Elaine, he wouldn't have left her in the night court to go save Vassa. That just proves that Lucien and Vassa are supposed to be together. Because he
believed her vision.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that actually really upset me earlier. There's I'm not gonna call them out by name, but there's a podcast that I follow and that follows me on TikTok. And we'll comment back and forth or whatever. And so I posted the thing about the book earlier, the signed book earlier, and they were like, "Oh, so what are we thinking? Like Lucien and Vassa's book?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, Lucien and Elaine's. And then I did like a little like thing. Like I was polite or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, I just like to go into it with absolutely no expectations, so then I'm not disappointed. But it's like, that's not really like normal. Like everybody has an expectation. Like you can be like, oh, I have no expectations, but obviously you're hoping for something.
Yeah.
You're gonna be disappointed if it's
You're
not.
going to be disappointed. And I mean, I don't know.
I can't go off on a Vassian rant again. I told myself I wouldn't. I just can't.
Ecca, were you on Tumblr at all today? Did you see Mel's Tumblr post and then my reblogs?
I was on Tumblr, but not on that account.
I did my angry rant today. I did a very angry.
Was it because of what I sent you, or it was? So
no, because I saw that, and then you also sent me that, and then I go, "That's it." Go. I was so mad.
Oh,
I was like, I can't handle their brain deadness.
It made no sense. I sent Mel 2 screenshots of someone's Tumblr post. And I was like, can you read this? Because I've read this 3 times and I don't understand what the fuck she's talking about.
I have had that bitch blocked for years. She made no goddamn fucking sense ever.
I read that post 3 times. 3 times. And I couldn't connect the dots that she's trying to create. And I'm like, what the hell is she talking about?
Garbage. It's total.
So then Mel tells me she's pretty much saying that Elaine, the next book can be either Elaine or Azriel's, because Elaine and Azriel's books are going to be intertwined. So that means that Elaine and Azriel gets the next 2 books when Nesta got 1.
Yeah.
And we know how much SJM loves Nesta.
Oh, because, Lucien's a male and he's not going to get a main POV.
Oh, yeah. And that Lucien's not a main male character. Doesn't give off main male character energy or something like that.
I've seen all the arguments. They're so fucking stupid. But it's funny.
Did we really ignore all the plot lines that Lucien is connected to?
So, for Elriel, Lucien doesn't give off MMC energy. But then when you ask what the other book would be, they'll say Vassian. Make it make sense. So then he would be an MMC.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're saying Vassa is going to get a POV over fucking Gwen?
Yeah.
No.
Well, here's the other thing that I put in my reblog. So I put in my reblog of Mel's post. I was like, here's a really thick
I loved when you were like, wait, I have more to add. Hold on.
Yes, I did have to do ads. So I say to Mel's post, I was like, okay, so as Elaine rejects the bait bond in the next book, okay? Meaning that now Lucien has his journey to go on with Vassa, because everyone believes that Lucien's other backup.
Aside from the fact that apparently it causes him no pain to lose his fucking mate bond.
Yeah, so
gonna just move right on.
Elaine goes scurrying back to Night Court to tend to all the gardens of Night Court with Azriel. Okay, now Elaine has no plot line going forward in her own goddamn book. Okay.
No. They think that she's gonna be a spy with Az and travel with Az, spying everywhere.
Spying on what? What is there that you have to spy on?
Koshi! She's gonna be spying on Koshi.
So I was like, Lucien's gonna go with Vassa to go defeat Koche.
Yeah.
Because supposedly Elaine has never been part of the Koche storyline.
Oh, I don't know.
Because that's the Elriel's big thing. Elaine has nothing to do with Koche. I was like, she saw his swan, she saw his firebird, and she saw his black box.
Yep.
She has nothing to do with Koche. You're telling me she has nothing to do with Koche. Yet, these same Elriels say that Azriel has something to do with Koche. I was like, okay, but if you're going to say that Elaine is supposed to be with Azriel, that means that Elaine then has to do something with Koche.
Yeah.
Which means that she should have something to do with Lucien, who also has something to do with Koche.
But then they'll be like, no, because then Lucien has something is defending Vassa from Koche. I hate it.
That's what Jurian's for.
I know.
And they're like, well, he's just a human, which we go back to your thought. He went in the fucking cauldron.
What is he?
What is he? Is he a new death god? Or is he a deathless god? He spent 500 years trapped in an eyeball.
I want to know what the fuck he knows about Reese. Why did he want him dead?
There you go.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't like those. I do not like those.
I don't like it.
It's my wedding ring.
I know.
Oh.
It's weirder, Amarantha. Hi, husband.
But yeah, like the fact that some of their thought process is so convoluted, because if you put Elaine with Lucian and you're like, well, Elaine has all this to do with Lucian's storyline, they go, yeah, Elaine has nothing to do with any of those storylines. But then if you put Elaine with Azriel and you give him similar enough storylines, like,
then she suddenly does.
Suddenly she does. Like finding out his heritage, finding out what he has to do with Koche, finding out what he has to do about Ramiel. Like that's all. Like then
I hate the argument that they will make how Lucian was setting his sights on Koshi to defend Vasa. What?
He's not
more likely that he's feeling Elaine's like. We think they're Karanem, but like they're mates. He has to be feeling something along those lines. Yes, we know that Lucian is fiercely defensive of his friends. So yes, he is obviously understandably upset that one of his friends is captured by this death god and cursed.
Yeah.
That makes sense for Lucian, because again, what did Lucian do for Feyre? Does that mean he was sexually interested in Feyre? No. Yeah. It means they were friends and it was the right thing to do, because that's who Lucian is.
How many times did he almost die for Feyre?
Yeah.
Does that mean he should have been sleeping with Feyre?
Right? He's friends with Vasa. He's going to be understandably upset that she's hurt by this dude. But at the same time, his mate is having visions of this really bad guy, sending him on missions to find Vasa, who was cursed by this really bad guy. He has to know something about her being connected to it, and he is understandably upset that Elaine is connected to this, which also makes sense.
But also, he was there at the lake when the bargain was struck.
I know, and SJM retconned that to make him there.
It was important to put him there. It was important for him to have a big storyline with Papa Archeron. You know, a bigger one than what we were originally told.
Don't get me started on still not knowing what the fuck happened with Papa Archeron. I need to know.
But like, let's also look at this. So he's there when this bargain's made. He's there to see Koche in person.
Yeah.
If Koche is anything like his brother, the Bone Carver, or the Weaver, he probably knows about Elaine seeing him. Because the Bone Carver felt when the two sisters were created.
I wouldn't be shocked if Koshi was sending her the visions.
I wouldn't be shocked either. The Suriel.
I think he is. I think he's innately connected to her because of Papa A's bargain. I think he worded it so cleverly, and Papa A is like, all right, he's like a human man, right? Technically, if we're going by canon, I guess. He's a human man. How many times was it said in the first book, even around Papa Archeron, oh, bargains are super... You know, it has to do with the wording. It has to do with the wording. Oh, bargains are very specific to wording. He could have easily fooled an older man. Come on.
Oh, yeah. And like, I don't know. I'm like, you're thinking of the Koche as somebody stuck, like just a person, a fae, stuck.
Because they don't know the myth.
He is somebody more than that. He is the Bone Carver who can speak to the wind and the rock and the sea. He is like the Suriel who can see things outside of time. Okay, he's like the Weaver who can smell things and can feel when something new has been born in the world.
And in the myth, he is I've said this. He's an illusionist. I'm pretty sure he has the ability to shapeshift, and I'm pretty sure he has the ability to astral project as well. So if he can astral project and shapeshift at the same time, people are worried about Tamlin being anybody. I'm worried about Koshi being anybody.
Oh yeah.
What if
like Jurian?
Huh?
Like a Jurian.
But
or Vasa.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
I know that SJM has talked about someone betraying, like there's going to be a betrayal. I know people don't want it to be Vasa, but I personally think it will. But I don't think Elaine's going to kill her. I think it's going to be one of those, she betrays them and Elaine
saves herself
her and forgives her and she redeems herself.
I could see her maybe betraying them to save herself.
Yeah.
Because she's human, and I mean, she only has a short lifespan, I guess. But I can also see Jurian being the betrayal. I can also see them spinning it so that Nesta's a betrayal because she takes back Dusk. So, like, really, it's anyone who doesn't agree with the inner circle could be deemed a betrayer. Let's be real.
I think it's more.
Yeah, it could be more.
It could be
I don't know. I've always said from the very beginning, Amren, Moore, or Jurian.
Yeah.
If it's like a big betrayal type thing. Because Jurian, from the very beginning, oh, I know all your secrets, Rhysand. I've seen all of you, Rhysand. Hybern, the Jurian wants the High Lord of Night dead. Rhys sees the Bone Carver as Jurian, your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe Moore and Amren are red herrings for Jurian? Or Jurian's a red herring for... I don't know. It's those three. Those three are just so weird. Like, Amren, maybe she's just like the Asteri Valg and she knows about Rhys, and so she's just been keeping shit from Rhys because she wants to use him, as we know, to become High King. But like,
he sucks.
Yeah. But like, Moore is way more subtle than Amren. And Jurian, we don't know. We've barely seen him. We don't know what he is.
Yeah. So, we'll definitely meet them in that Lucian and like they are characters that we've been told about. It's time to finally meet them and get.
I'm going to be rip shit if she has Eris betray them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so pissed.
I would be so pissed because you already have people who hate him, furiously hate him, just for whatever the fuck Moore has said. When we have so much of, don't believe the lies they tell you about me. She knows the truth and hasn't revealed it. What a liar you are, from Jurian to Moore. And, like, we have all this shit where Moore is the sus one. So if she has Eris be the one to fucking betray them, that's only gonna make that worse.
Yeah.
And it's gonna piss me off. Unless, Koschei.
What if it's Helion?
It could also be Helion. It could also be Koschei as Eris, Koschei as Helion, Koschei as Jurian, shapeshifted into them so that they think that it's them. Because me and Theresa were going over this before, how, like, she has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Koschei is a bigger bad than Amarantha and Hybern. Hybern had the hologram where he couldn't be tracked down and killed by Rhys in that scene, and you couldn't tell that he was a hologram. You know, he could track them through all of their magic. He almost killed Cassian and Nesta. He had the amethyst light that he was shooting at Azrael. He almost killed them in the sky. So, like, you really, really have to make Koschei an evil dude. Like, the burden of proof is on her to show us how much more awful this guy is than Amarantha and Hybern. And even Maeve, like, if he's supposed to be worse than all those people, you have to show us how he's worse. And it would make sense that it would start with him tricking the readers. And then, you know, having a big reveal and being like, oh, fuck. What a plot twist.
I mean, considering the fact that I had a thought and then I lost it.
Considering my brain is muddled. Okay, Elaine. Whatever you say, Elaine.
Oh my god.
What happened?
She had a thought and she's like, considering that, and then she stopped and then she goes, considering that I forgot what I was gonna say. I go, okay, Elaine.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Such an Elaine moment right there. Just stopped mid-sentence.
Yep.
Shit.
Shit. Oh my god, that pisses me off when Elaine was like...
I remember. So, considering that Hybern killed the Weaver.
Yeah.
Like, Koschei has to be an even bigger bad,
Yeah.
I
mean, it bothers me because, like, all right, yeah, he broke her neck, but she would have healed if he didn't throw her to, like, the hounds to be ripped apart. I see, the thing that bothers me about Sarah is that she will give us all these clues and Easter eggs expecting us to pick them up and know what she means, but then she will never confirm exactly what they mean. Like, I had someone fighting with me on TikTok today, and so, because she doesn't think Tog is the past because she's one of those Aelin lovers or whatever that doesn't want to believe they're dead.
I've heard
so anyways,
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. But like you can love Aelin and be like, oh, she had a nice life and then rested in peace with Rowan. Like they're dead, you know?
Yeah, like I think she's dead.
Yeah. So
but she can come back as a ghost.
Yeah, as a ghost, there's time travel, like, you know? So basically we were kind of fighting about how her new belief is that, you know, Tug is after ACOTAR and ACOTAR are the ancestors, which makes no fucking sense. But anyways, I was like, it makes no sense because Aelin was gifted the fire first and whatever, and we were going back and forth. But anyways, one of her main arguments all the time that we fight tooth and nail about every single time it comes up is that she refuses to believe that the rings were Rowan and Aelin's rings because Sarah doesn't actually write it in the book. Why is she going to harp on a goddamn random piece of jewelry that means nothing? Why?
Yeah.
She's like, we have no proof that the ruby is Rowan's ring. It's not even said that it's Rowan's ring. He's not even brought up by name. Okay, neither is Aelin, but you know that she has her fucking fire.
Yeah.
But then she'll be like, no, because it could have been from Brandon's other line, and which I hate that because no, none of Brandon's other lines had the fire. They only gifted it to Aelin. It is in canon in Tog that it was only Aelin ever. It's just like, oh, it's not written in the book that it is Rowan's ring or Aelin's ring, so we have no proof that it is, and you can't say that it is. I'm like, okay, but like that's like saying, oh, Celine didn't directly say Rhys's name, so maybe she isn't his ancestor. Like, we know that she's his ancestor.
Yeah.
Things don't have to always be absolutely written out and said for you to get it.
Well, the thing is like, there's a way to approach theories that is respectable. Okay? Like, I don't always agree with all of your theories.
Yeah.
But I listen to them and I go, there's a lot of really good information there to make it true.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% on board with it. I'll give you my numbers. Like, I'm 75% on board, I'm 25% not. You know, things like that. But there's a way of being respectable. Like, you put in a lot of effort to make this theory sound true and give me all the clues to say, yeah, it looks like this is being set up for this. You know? But to just straight up say there's no clues saying that it is. It's not directly saying it is. It's like, no, it's not directly saying it is, but that doesn't mean that we can't speculate.
There is a such thing as implied canon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a thing. It's an actual literary device.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
What?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So, Hoshi, the deathless, but he's not deathless during a solar eclipse.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because Hillian was like, my family has ties to the mask, and Nesta needs the mask because that's like her, and she's gonna be Queen of Dusk. An eclipse is very dusk-like.
Yeah.
Even crazier theory to go along with that. What if Koshi is the one that possesses you when you wear the mask?
Oh, that's freaky. That is freaky. We need to go back and read
what Cassian fucked Koshi.
I don't think she ever wore the mask made out going at it. But we need to go back and reread like how Bryce felt with the mask on, if anything was whispering to her. I feel like Nesta deals with the mask differently than how Bryce was dealing with it.
Because through love, all is possible, and Hunt loves Bryce unconditionally.
Yeah, he actually wears the mask at one point too. I was very surprised when he put it on. I was like, don't.
I'm like, because they are so solid as mates.
Huh?
Because they are so solid as mates.
Yeah. Plus, he had some of that Starborn magic in him at the time, which is what allowed him to wear the mask and take it off.
Yeah.
So
it's like, and like he was saving, like he's so in love with Bryce that he was saving her life at that point, which is just so sad when you think about Azrael being like, Cassian's waiting for you at the house, and like nothing.
Oh.
And Feyre and Elaine, little bit of a flicker. And Gwen and Emery, more of a flicker. And Nyx falls off. The baby. Because babies have unconditional love.
Yeah. Yep.
And Hunt had unconditional love for Bryce. And people say Quinlar. I fucking hate the Bryce reels.
Oh my God.
I had a whole fight with them on Reddit today, and people were getting all heated. But anyway, but yeah, I
hate that. I hate that ships. I will support Elviel before I ever support
Price Real.
I'm like, why the fuck are you? Why?
I'm like, he already has his designated fucking redhead. Go away. But yeah,
he's into both Vanceras.
Right.
He wants that autumn court.
Yeah.
Autumn court.
But yeah, when I read the last part of Hofas and like they had the mask and it was like not a problem for them, and then I go, oh, the comparisons to Nessie in here is just so awful. And I go, Olivia's gonna hate this.
Well, I just wonder how true to form is it. So we know that Bryce is very Starborn, like almost a pure Starborn child. Yeah. Nesta is a maid Starborn.
Yeah.
So she's having struggles with it because she wasn't she's not a true Starborn. That's how I always read it.
I don't know. I still think the Trove has to do with like the through love all is possible thing, because all the research that Danica did and all of that stuff. And again, that's how, she was coaxed out of it with Nyx's name by Azrael, and that's how, Bryce was brought back with it by Hunt. So I'm like, it's just another point against them. And people will say I'm a bitch for pointing it out, but it's like, you have to wonder why Sarah's writing them like this. Like you said, like, why? If she wanted to convince us after Akasif, even though they ended pretty much yelling at each other, but Nesta saying I love you and him not saying I love you, and then did the wedding happen? Did it not happen? They're not wearing rings. They're fighting in Hofas. My whole point was like, if she wanted us to believe that the wedding happened, that they had, gotten through their shit, and they were good as mates and husband and wife, she had every opportunity to do that in Hofas. Every opportunity. She could have had Cassian looking for her in the caves. She could have had Cassian twirling a wedding band. She could have had Cassian standing up for her to Rhys. She could have had, Cassian's name coaxing her out of the mask. Every single fucking opportunity. None. Nothing. Every opportunity squandered. And written just worse. And so, like, I don't get it. If she wanted us to believe that Nessian were endgame and Nessian were so solid and they were getting better and they were going to be these great mates, why?
Also, Cormac's prophecy, and then Nesta suddenly has the tattoo.
I know! And why did she introduce in that book, oh, Thea had a mate from another realm.
Yeah.
Thea, the same person that could also wield all the Trove to open the portals to other realms. Interesting. Very fucking interesting. People will say I'm crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I think I found clues that people didn't. I don't think I'm crazy. Okay. Just thinking of the moment that Cormac arrives on scene in Prithian gives me so much joy. You have no idea. Okay, can you imagine if Elaine is the one to find him when they're traveling?
It'd be cool, but it would also be weird because Elaine and Lucian know nothing about any of this because they were not privy to what was going on in the Night Court.
Which is so annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to know... How do you think SJM is going to write in the events of Hofas to the next book? Is my better question.
If it's Elaine and Lucian, and considering they were not in Hofas at all, I think it's a tandem read.
Yeah.
I think that they are not privy to what's going on in Night Court at all. I mean, Rhys already keeps Lucian out of the circle. He underestimates Lucian. He undervalues Lucian, even though he tells Feyre, oh, he was wasted in the spring court. I was like, okay, then stop wasting him in your Night
I think
Court.
He's very loyal to a fault.
Yeah. But I mean, he does praise him of saying his talents were wasted. It's like, well, you're wasting them too.
I know.
You're undervaluing him as a person, as somebody who can get the job done.
So if it's a tandem read, do you think that at the end of the book, they're going to kind of show up in the Night Court and be like, oh, look, we're moving to the day court or whatever, and then they're going to just be giving a rundown of what happened? Or
okay, so I think half the book, I think the beginning quarter of the book will be a tandem read. And we know Azriel is missing from Night Court, or missing from Hofas, the 2 other times that Bryce comes back to Prithian.
Yes.
So where is he? He's not crying in his room over the loss of his dagger.
He's crying over the loss of his favorite dagger on Gwen's pillow.
That's
when I lost my favorite dagger, what do I do?
Headcanon thought.
Oh, the comfort to every growing child is gone.
Yes. But personally, I'm of the belief that Azriel had to quickly get to Elaine and Lucien because he has information to give to them, or he's finding out information. Through what he went through in the tunnels is allowing him to find out information of what Lucien and Elaine is going through, and he has to get to them. And then when he gets to them, he'll inform them about Bryce.
Yeah. This kind of goes to my theory that I think Elaine, well, Lucien might, because he is obviously related to Helion, but this kind of goes to my theory that Elaine is going to have like the touch telepathy thing. So I think that it's going to work a little different than Helion's. I think she's going to be able to like touch somebody's like temples or hands or something and be able to see their memories.
Yeah.
Receive their memories and then also share them with others through the same gift.
I want her to have vision and time magic.
Yeah. Because obviously Sarah's not going to run down the whole Hofast book through Azriel telling her, right? It would be so easy to just be like, oh, and Elaine touched his mind and saw everything he saw.
Oh, yep. Did you? Okay, another thing that A Court of Thought recently talked about, I think it was A Court of Thought, it might have been you. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
About it. Someone was talking about how Helion is able to find people out of the blue.
What's that?
So he was supposed to go to the Weavers, and instead he finds Feyre.
I'm going to have to add that to his wiki. Do you know the person with the most powers on the wikis is Helion?
Yeah, because she keeps dumping things on him because she keeps forgetting to get into his full-blown lore.
And he is literally connected to the Dread Trove and the Starboard.
Yeah, so it is from A Court of Thought, but she's basing it off of something that she saw on TikTok, okay? But I can't see the TikTok video because I don't...
Was it me and you? Was it me and you who fixed the wiki? I think you were helping me remember things and I fixed it.
You did it. I was doing the research.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what other? Yeah, he can like sense people's ailments with his light.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much.
He has so much. Okay, so let me read A Court of Thoughts, what she wrote. I agree with the link TikTok below. I've previously thought Elaine will end up in the Day Court to learn more about her seer powers, and that lines up well with Lucien ending up there to learn about his heritage/powers too. In Greek mythology, Helios is known as the god of the sun, and while he wasn't explicitly named the god of sight, his role as the sun god and his ability to see everything from his chariot were associated with the gift of sight. He was also considered omniscient, able to observe anything and everything. So already, the fact that he has all these powers makes him omniscient, okay? So here's all the bullet points. I didn't care how Helion had found me, why he found me.
Of course she didn't. What the fuck else is new?
That was Feyre when Helion found her.
I've looked it out. I don't care. Bitch.
He just reached Elaine's tent when Helion sent word he found me, using whatever gift he possessed that allowed him to sense such things, and was bringing me back brief details.
Omniscience.
So he was able to like thought project to Rhys to let.
So would that be like omniscient sensing?
I don't know. Like it almost sounds like Damati.
I know.
Okay,
but it doesn't seem like it's like mind to mind.
But he sends the thought out to Rhys to let him know I found Feyre. I'm bringing her back.
So is he Damati? Hold on.
Then it's Lucien had tracked it down. I don't need one. I travel faster on my own. His chin lifted. I will find her. And if there's an army to bring back, or at least some way for her story to sway the human forces, I'll find a way to do that too. Lucien's scarred, handsome face appeared, his golden eye worrying. I thought I sensed someone else arriving. So A Court of Thought is connecting the two moments of Helion just knowing when someone's like
clairvoyant telepathy.
Yeah, there we go.
Clairvoyance is the ability to see things in advance things and events that are happening far away or hidden, while telepathy is the ability to transmit or receive thoughts without physical communication. Some might also describe it as extrasensory perception.
So wait.
If
how come Az can figure out that Elaine is a seer if he's in the night court and day court as the seers?
Well, there we go.
As is part of Starborn.
Well, also, Az has been propositioned many times by Helion. We do not know if Az has not taken Helion up on his offer, whatever proposition he has offered. So there's a good chance Az does know Helion has clairvoyancy and went to go ask him specifically, what is a seer?
Because this actually makes sense, because remember we were saying how, like, if Rhys and Tamlin are, like, foils, then Azriel and Lucian are foils, because they have things that are super different, but they also have things that are super similar.
Yeah.
All right, what should I put this as? Clairvoyant telepathy?
Yeah, maybe.
Or clairvoyant telepathy, and then regular clairvoyance, I guess.
He has
so many powers.
He has so many and he's also telepathic. I mean, if he can talk to Rhys from miles away just to let him know, like, hey, she's coming back.
Mm-hmm. But then we have clairsentient.
Clairsentient.
He just knows things.
He just knows
clairsentience. Is that what it is?
Is that off? See, sometimes Rhys is like that too.
Clairsentience. Empathic intuition.
There we go.
So the psychic ability to perceive or feel the emotions, energy, and vibrations of other people or objects, essentially feeling what others are feeling or experiencing. He was very emotionally scared of that object in Rhys's dungeon. Clairsentience. So I'm gonna put clairvoyance, clairsentience, and clairvoyant telepathy. Yeah.
He's not Demadi, supposedly.
Yeah, no, but then he also has, like, the touch telepathy. Ugh. He's so much. Okay, hold on. Apply. Sometimes I, like, edit these so much that they kick me from the pages, and I was like, I'm helping you, bitch. Why are you kicking me?
I am very surprised with how much Helion has under his belt.
Yeah.
Why?
Do you know how many times
Lord?
How much he has under his belt?
I know. I was like, girl.
Yeah.
So Helion, also known as Helion Spellcleaver, I want to know what his actual fucking surname is, please. Age 500 plus. So powers: air manipulation, light generation, ashing burning, and then I just put possible sunfire, curse breaking, touch telepathy, shape-shifting, speed reading, replication, ailment diagnosis with light, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairvoyant telepathy, and winnowing.
Yes.
What the fuck?
She just dumps everything onto him.
Eclipse.
I love this. Lucian Vincera, biological son. Oh god.
Eclipse.
Oh my god. The eclipse vibe. I need it. That's actually,
I'm telling you. That's actually interesting if she does bring that into her storylines, because we have not seen a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse yet. What does that do to the magic?
I think I might have accidentally manifested this into existence. I did a real, like, it was a while. It was like, was 2023 maybe? Or maybe like right after Hofast. I did a random ass reel of, it was like a Vampire Diaries quote or something. And I put it under, like, oh, writing ideas or like fanfic ideas or something. And it's literally Tamlin saying, oh, the eclipse will be right above, and that's when we need to open the portal to get Lauren back, or something like that. It was an eclipse quote, and I go, it would make so much sense if, like, the lesser Starborn people could only open a portal during an eclipse. And it was just like a random thing. I wasn't actually, like, thinking of it, but that's, like, really funny, because when you were saying that, I was like, I did this reel like a year and a half ago, and I wasn't even thinking of it.
And with it being a different world, we can have eclipses much differently than here in our world. Like, we have an eclipse once or twice a year, both for the sun and for the moon, twice a year. But like in other worlds, they might not have an eclipse for every 100 years. Like in Avatar, The Last Airbender, they have an eclipse that only happens once every like 100 years or something. And it steals the firebenders of their firepower.
What if it's not a sun-moon eclipse? What if it's a worlds stacking on top of each other once every 15,000 years eclipse?
A conjunction.
Yeah.
A conjunction.
And what if that's what Sarah was talking about, oh, well, what if they can stack on top of each other? And Meryl knows this.
Yeah.
And what if it's coming up?
Well, I mean,
every 15,000 years. And maybe this is how the bone carver disappeared from the Tog world 30,000 years ago.
Well, if she's using North mythology, that's North mythology. Because I think there's 9 worlds, or is there 7 worlds? 9 worlds.
9.
And Asgard's like the ruler. And then Earth is like the bottom one.
Isn't it Rune that says the Autumn King had the orrery of like 9 worlds? And I was like, that's weird because isn't her number 7? And then we find out that it's actually 26 because there's the 26 strings of the harp, and then Meryl says 26. I'm pretty sure Einar's orrery was 9. And I thought that number was really weird, and I didn't know why that it would be 9 because her numbers are always like 7, 8, 3, things like that.
I have to go back and write it all down.
It's like
from when Bryce got into that archive rooms. Because yes, I think they mentioned 26 worlds in the archive rooms, but when Bryce is looking through the papers, I think 9 worlds were able to overthrow the or it's either 9 worlds 3 worlds overthrew them, but I think it was 9 worlds that were eliminated.
Let me see.
Or something.
In the Tog world, how many gods were there?
It's really hard to say because they had like
I can look.
They had Erd, they had Luna, they had
no. In Tog.
Oh, in Tog.
Not in CC. In Tog.
Hold on.
Wasn't it 9?
Oh, let me look. Tog gods. I actually looked that up the other day because I was doing more like research about Amaranth. Because I'm still convinced that Loomis was her father, but that's just me. So there is. Are we counting the 3-faced goddess?
Yes.
Maybe, I guess. All right. So there's Anieth, Deanna, Hellas, Kiva, Lani, Ina, Loomis, Mala, Tiom, Silba, God of Truth, Vanth, 3-faced goddess, Timus, Farnor, and Beast. So that's Bast. I mean, that's 16. 8. 8 plus 8. Weird. It wasn't said when was that book 1 or book 2 that he first saw?
It's book 1.
Book 1. Okay.
And it happens
Earth and Blood.
Yeah, it's book 1. Oh, when does it happen?
I'm just gonna look up.
Oh, it happens around the time that it's after Bryce gets recruited to start looking for the monster with Hunt. And she had just talked to Rune about it, and then Rune went to his father, and then he also asked his father, can I tell my mother? So if you need to do a search, do something like, can I tell my mother? Give a heads up or something to her.
I looked up the number 9. There's like a few things that are like 9 years, which was really weird.
Well,
there's a lot of 9 o'clocks too.
Okay, I think 9 is another sacred number. So 7's one and 9's the other.
And obviously,
9 is Hecate.
And 49. 49 angels in the Asterian Guard.
Hecate.
What's that?
She's a Greek goddess of the crossroads.
Oh, okay.
I was Hecate for Halloween last year. 49 angels in the Asterian Guard. Amarantha. 7 by 7. And then the frickin' Asteri. The wall is 7 by 7. Jeez, can you be any more obvious that she was a fucking Asteri? The orrery in the far back of the space drew Rune's eye, a working model of their 7. It is 7. 7 planets, moons, and sun made from solid gold. Rune had been mesmerized by it as a boy. Sounds like Azrael. Back when he'd been stupid enough to believe his father actually gave a shit about him. He once asked his father what he was looking for exactly. Patterns was all he said. The Autumn King sat at one of the 4 massive work tables, each littered with books and an array of glass and metal devices, experiments for whatever the fuck his father did with those patterns. Also, an iridescent liquid bubbled within a glass orb set over a burner.
The fuck?
Huh. Was he trying to recreate the Veritas?
Wait, what is the moon? What is the star? The Starlight Lake. What's the freaking
the river?
No, in Spring Court.
Starlight Pool?
The Starlight Pool in Spring Court.
Pond. It's like a pond, but yeah.
Yeah. What's that described like? Is it iridescent?
Hmm.
So.
Hmm. Hmm. Yup. And so is Amren's crown when she comes out of the cauldron.
Oh, really?
Okay. A crown of iridescent light.
But it's not liquid.
Yeah.
I'm talking about liquid.
Liquid. The cauldron water.
Oh, is that iridescent also?
It's iridescent.
Okay. I thought
that's why I'm convinced that the Starlight Pool.
Muck. I thought it was described as muck.
Well, it's described as iridescent in the mural.
Oh, okay.
When Ferris sees the mural and it's being poured out by a female hand.
Yeah, when it's being good.
Yeah.
Before it's corrupted.
Yeah.
But once it's corrupted, then it's black.
But that's why I think the Starlight Pool is just spilled water of the pure cauldron.
Oh, yeah. That would be a really... That's a good catch.
Which is why Tamlin was like, don't drink it. You'll be happy forever. Wow, why is that a bad thing, Tam? Don't. You'll be happy forever, bitch.
Because they have to break the curse first.
I know. He can't have a giddy person all up in Amarantha's business.
But she does drink it. But like, there's a point in Summer Solstice where Lucian tells her not to drink the fairy wine, and she's like, I don't believe you. And he's like, I'm not lying. And she's like, just like you weren't lying when you told me to eat the berries, and then I was hallucinating.
Like when you made me drink the witch berry wine
for 2 days. And Tamlin had to yell at him for laughing so hard. I was like, this is why the two of them were brother and sister.
He threw him in the pool. He threw him in the reflection pool.
Yeah. And I was like, this is why the two of them were brother and sister in my mind. Anybody who read those two as possible, like, lovers, I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I always saw them as brother and sister.
Do you know that this is the first scene the prism is seen? I like completely forgot this.
When?
This first scene with Rune and his dad, chapter 14. And then he says, should I be wearing a hazmat suit? He aimed for the work table where his father peered through a foot-long prism ensconced in some delicate silver contraption.
I thought you meant prison, not prism.
No, prism.
There's no prison in CC.
Okay, also, state your business, Prince. His father said shortly, an amber eye fixed to the viewing apparatus atop the prism. Like, Eris has amber eyes, Helion has amber eyes, Bryce has amber eyes, and Einar has amber eyes.
But Lucian got his mother's russet eye.
I know. But Eris knows about the peaks too. I don't know.
This is why Eris is the true heir, not from Baron, but from the red-headed fire wielders line.
Yes.
He is going to be the true heir of Autumn.
I just like... He adjusted a dial on the prism device. Prism device. But like, how did we skip how he's literally trying to fucking recreate the Veritas orb over here? And we're like, oh, he's just making a weird bubble. Like, no, he's trying to recreate the Veritas orb. What? Who do you think he wanted to drag the truth out of then? Could it be Lauren? Could it be Lauren?
Possibly.
Because Rune isn't his kid? Oh my god. I have to highlight this. I had none of this highlighted. I'm so bad. See, I've only read it like, I don't know, 4 times I think I'm on. Holy shit. What? Okay, also, I don't know. Rune is like Cassian here, and it bothers me.
Why?
Because Cassian goes into how Rhys has the orrery and all this stuff, and he's like, oh, Azriel had been so taken by it, and he just didn't care, and he thought it was boring. And he like moves on, and I was like...
I don't blame for Rune not being interested, because this was his dad, and his dad tortured him.
I know.
The last thing I'm gonna ever do is be interested in the shit that my dad was into if my dad was my character, you know? So he had no desire to be prince. He had no desire to be starborn. He had no desire to be the future king. He had no desire to, like,
this is why I tell Olivia
scientific storylines, you know, experiments. Yeah. Because in his mind, his dad, the reason his dad's the way he is because of all these things, you know? It's why, I really wanted at the end of CC for Rune to have given Bryce his kernel of starlight to make Bryce like even stronger than Thea. Like, I was like, I think he's going to drop his kernel of starlight into Bryce and make Bryce stronger than Thea. Because, like, she's at 100%. If she gets Rune's kernel of starlight, she would have been 125.
What if, hear me out, what if his mom finds a way back to Prythian, or he finds Cormac in Prythian, and he gives his kernel of starlight to Nesta?
Oh, yeah. Well, you want to know who else has been wanting a kernel of starlight? Cormac. Cormac would actually know what to do with it. You know?
That's true. He would.
Yeah.
Rune doesn't.
Hamlin has a kernel. I think Eris has a kernel. Lucian has a kernel.
But Rune doesn't have a kernel anymore. He took the antidote, and then all of a sudden he blared bright. He's like, "This is what my starlight has always been supposed to be." You know?
Yeah.
So
from his mama and his real dad.
Yeah. And then he got the healing powers like Declan, which was stronger than Dex.
Yeah.
And then, did it say anything about his shadows being stronger or no?
Yes.
Okay.
He strangled them with his shadow.
Ooh, I don't even think we've seen.
He reached out his darkness tendrils and like strangled them with it and pulled it like rope.
I don't even think we've seen Azrael do that.
Azrael made his shadows turn into like, I'm not gonna say hammers, but they like solidified to attack Bryce, because remember they tried to bring down the cavern on her. But they're sentient, which is the difference between his and Rune's, because his is more like Cormac's. Their shadows are sentient. Yeah. So they take orders from them, whereas Rune just like uses his. His are a tool for himself, and they're not sentient.
Which is funny because Rhys doesn't use his shadows.
I know.
That way, the way that Rune just used his shadows.
I know. I was like, I loved that scene so much. I was like, that is his mama's magic.
I don't know how I feel, but can you imagine Rune accidentally misting someone?
No.
I thought he was going to. I thought he was going to in that scene. Instead of burning their eyeballs out with the starborn thing and then killing them, I thought he was gonna miss them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little.
I don't want him to, but at the same time, like I'm like,
I want his goddamn mom to teach him about his freaking power. but he could have just pieced out. Oh, he's happy with Lydia. Peace out.
Yeah.
Okay. It also says here, which is pretty much the first idea that we get, that his dad is sus of him. He calls Bryce that girl, obviously, and Rune gets mad. It says Rune controlled the anger thrumming through him, his shadow magic, seeking to veil him, shield him from sight, which is very much like Azrael, though. Another reason his father resented him. Beyond his starborn gifts, the bulk of his magic skewed toward his mother's kin, the Fae who ruled Avalon, the mist-shrouded island in the north, the sacred heart of Faedom. His father would have burned Avalon to ashes if he could. That Rune did not possess his father's flames, the flames of most of the Valbaran Fae, that he instead possessed Avalon abilities more than Rune ever let on to summon and walk through shadows, had been an unforgivable insult.
I still don't understand how the genetics work in CC, because we have Rune, who has the Avalon powers.
He's like both, but Avalon is stronger.
But Cormac has fire powers.
He has both. He's true
powers, but he shouldn't have fire powers because the fire magic is for Valbaran Fae.
But we don't know who his goddamn mom was.
But Regulus says that he has the most purest blood, which means that they try to keep it in the family. Yet he has fire.
Mm-hmm. This is why I'm saying it doesn't match up, and this is why I'm saying his parents are fucking Mor and Eris. I think this is going to be a whole crossworld thing that nobody knows about. Like, but also Lady A and Eris and Lucian being Valbaran Fae.
Yeah.
I am so 100% convinced that Lady A's maiden name is Danon.
I'm kind of convinced that Lady A's maiden name is now Valbara.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
Unless that's what if, because we know before Prythian was Courts, maybe it had a different name. Maybe the name of Prythian before the Courts was Valbara.
Oh, you mean maybe Autumn Court was Valbara before it became
I meant like the
Court?
mass of land. What if they changed the name from Valbara to Prythian?
I don't think that, because we have Avalyn and Valbara in Midgard. We have Prythian being Prythian. Like, I would think I could see,
like, where did that name come from in Crescent City if the redheads are Valbara and Fae? Like,
I would just think it comes from the family line or from their previous heritage. So let's say they always said redheads from the south, indicating that they never went past the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm assuming that they were the rulers of the south. Okay. But they bent the knee to a high king that ruled all of them. Okay.
I just don't think
what if that area of the south was Valbara and the north was Avalyn?
Yeah.
And then but the entire place was called Prythian, but there was Avalyn on north, Valbara on the south. They went over there. They got trapped there. So they made their new Valbara and their new Avalyn, because now they're angry at each other for getting us trapped here. Okay. So the Valbaran redheads separated from the Avalyn Night Court shadow wielders, went two separate directions and separated themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's their fault that they're now stuck here. Okay. But then Prythian went ahead and the magic of Prythian separated all of the courts into 7
based on magic,
based off the magic.
But then that's funny, because
Harrison Moore was strategic, because then it would have united them.
Yeah.
Pierre and fucking Baron,
But we don't need Eris and Moore to unite them, because we have Lady Autumn and Helion who united the south to the north. And they have a child.
Yeah, but I think Cormac is very on par with Lucian. But also, it's just like, yes, there's like Valbara and Avalyn, but then how come Prythian forgot that it was Valbara and Avalyn and Crescent City?
The same way they forgot about Thea. The same way they forgot about Thea. Thea is erased from their. They don't really have much memories of Thea. They barely remember Fionn. They don't remember. They only remember Analius through the past, and they don't remember Analius's role to play with Fionn in defeating the Daglin.
So the original surname of the Shadow Wielders is Donnell, clearly. So the original surname of the Fire Wielders has to be Danon.
Yes. That's how I assume it. And Valbara and Avalyn are the original.
People get mad at me though, because then they're like, "Well, how can Rhys's mom be a Donnell if she was Illyrian?" Easy, because literally down 15,000 years, people fucked everybody. You're gonna get some Illyrians in your bloodline. Like, you're gonna get, like Illyria's in their court. Why do you think we had the issue of people knowing that non-Illyrians can't carry Illyrian children?
Yeah.
They've been through this before. Yeah. That's how. That's how she's a Donnell.
Yeah.
And I'm still convinced that all the Illyrian females are witches, and just like they bred the pointed ears out in Crescent City, they buried the history of the females having witch power.
Yeah.
And they made them believe they're powerless. And that they made them believe they don't need siphons. I think if they had siphons, maybe that would unlock their magic.
It will be interesting to see what happens when Emery gets handed a siphon.
I know, because she's owed one. But my problem is she going to ask for one if she thinks that she doesn't have magic?
Why would the females not have magic and the males do?
Exactly. Why do they all think this is normal?
Yeah. Oh, I was just wondering this the other day. Okay, for the blood right,
yes,
all Illyrians lose their killing magic.
Yes.
How the hell does that happen?
The magic of the night takes all of their magic. It's like a spell, I swear, like Helen May.
It happens on a specific night. Is there a shooting star in the sky? Is there a meteor?
No, it's the 3 stars above Ramiel. That's the only time they show up.
They all appear. I wonder what 3 planets those 3 planets are. Is one Midgard, Terrasen, and Hell?
It's one of them is I think Orestes is a planet. So there's the Orestes for Aristian. The other one is Arctostian, so I think that's Arctos. And then Carinth for Corinthian.
Yeah. But obviously they're not going to have the names of the other worlds because they don't know that there's other worlds.
Yeah.
But what if those 3 planets are actually 3 other planets in the mass universe?
I want to pull up what it says in Hofas. I have before, but I want to go over it one more time because it was really weird. It's Azrael, it's Nesta and Azrael's reaction to Orestes when Bryce says the name Orestes. It's so weird.
What is the name of that one Val king that you keep talking about? Orcus.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking, like, the fact that the 3 stars has like so much to do with their magic, and Aelin as a red comet has like so much meaning.
Red star, yeah. Like, why did they see her as a red star? Red? Her planet is green. Midgard is red.
Because she's a fire wielder. She's Mala's heir.
True. Also, it's very funny that
but what I mean is, like, all these celestial bodies, whenever they show up in the sky, like, it fucks with their magic. That's why I'm saying, like, an eclipse.
Yeah. And we have like the starfall thing. It's weird. But also I want to point out that it is, I think it's no. I forget who Bryce is talking to. Einar. It's confirmed that Starfire is the like laser from the Starborn light. It says sheer concentrated power of her light. It sliced through stone like a knife through warm butter, a laser. Light that wasn't just light as the Asteri could wield their power. So, and then it says Selene carved the planets and stars and gods with this power. A map of the cosmos, of the world she abandoned. So then, when Nesta is fucking Cassian that night after the Symphonia, it says that her magic is Starfire. And I was like, so does she have this laser thing? And she's never used it yet. Weird. All right. Well, this says there are only 3 planets that were able to kick out the Asteri. Hell, Ephraxia, and the Feyworld. So it was Hell, Prithian, and whatever Ephraxia is.
I would assume that was whatever world Tog's called.
Tog. But Tog, I mean, I guess Tog kicked them out if you...
Illyria?
What is...
Or not Illyria. Aurelia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But Aurelia could have been like the name Lunathian to Midgard, like the newer name, which makes sense. My only thing with that is like they did ultimately end up coming back and taking them to Midgard. So they kicked them out once, but they couldn't kick them out twice.
Or do you think Aurelia is Midgard just 15,000 years later?
I don't, because they went through the portal to Midgard in Hofas. People keep saying that, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It is chapter 17 of Hofas. That's actually really pretty quick. Later than that. Also, Azrael, I fucking love Azrael in this book. Bryce sucked in a breath. I'm going in. Keep a step back, she warned Azrael. And miss the fun, he muttered. Nesta chuckled. I mean it. Stay here. There are wards. In the middle was the 8-pointed star. It must have been the one Nesta had seen before. Again, Nesta saw it first. As if in answer, the star in Bryce's chest flared, then dimmed. Nesta stepped beside them, pointing. The harp sat atop that star. Harp? It was held there by the wards. Azrael scanned the chamber, still not letting go of Bryce's hand as he said to Nesta, we don't know what else might be kept at bay in there. I didn't sense anything except the harp last time. That is a lie, Nesta. You sense the people in the stone. Don't lie.
I mean, she talked about that, though.
Yeah.
But
earlier. We also didn't sense that there was a second entrance to this place, Azriel countered. We can assume nothing. And then she's touching the amulet. All right. Okay, I find it weird. So Bryce moves into the wards, and it says cold fury tightened. Again, cold fury tightened Azriel's features, but Nesta was smirking with something like approval. You're on your own now, Azriel said, blue stones glimmering at his hands with a cold fury that matched his expression. Bryce's brows lifted, walking backward a few steps. You really can't get through. He crouched to trace a scarred hand along the stone floor, anger fading in the face of his curiosity. No, I don't know whether to be impressed or worried. Are you going in? He asked Nesta. Let's see what happens first. Bryce scowled. Thanks. Nesta didn't smile. She only urged, be quick, look around, but don't linger. Azriel said nothing, face impassive. Bryce surveyed the carvings on the floor, whorls and faces, which faces, weird. The hair on her arms rose. These are Midgard's constellations. That's the Great Ladle, and that is Orion, the hunter. Hunt, her hunt.
Yeah.
Her companions, the tunnels, the world faded away as she traced the stars plotting their path. The Archesian amulet warmed against her skin, as if working to clear the wards around her. So the amulet clears the wards. So Nesta being made is like Nesta. Is Nesta like the amulet, like a protector? The archer, she breathed, the scorpion, and the fish. This is a map of my cosmos.
Oh, wait a minute. I just thought of something.
So did I, but you go first.
So, Bryce has the tattoo of the horn on her back. Mm-hmm. Nesta has the 8-pointed star tattooed on her back. Mm-hmm. And then Aelin has I guess it's the Artesian marking that Nehemia gave her or pointed
Didn't
out.
She have like the nameless? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay, so Bryce says her boot knocked against a raised half orb, a screaming face carved into it. Sif. Like
Wait,
siphons?
Sif. No.
Sif is an actual goddess in Norwegian lore.
Thor's wife.
Yeah.
It says Sif, the outermost planet. She went to the next, a similar mound with a grave male face. Orestes. Now, it says Orestes, Azriel asked sharply, drawing her attention back to where he and Nesta still stood at the tunnel archway. The warrior. She blinked. Yes. Interesting, Nesta said, head angling. Perhaps the name came from the same source. What? Who? Huh? What are we talking about? And then Bryce moves on, and she's just like, she indicated to the next mound, the face of a bearded old man, Odin. Obviously.
How many?
Ragnarok.
Wait, how many are on the floor? How many?
We're gonna count after because she didn't actually count. The next, closer to the center of the room, was a young laughing male, Lakos. Another mound rose on the other side of the star, massive and helmeted, Thur. And then she pointed to a mound with a female head, Faria. That sounds really similar to Feyre or Freya. Faria. Beyond Faria, a large raised mound with snaking tendrils, Sol. Like sun? Like the sun god? Snakes? Snakes? Like Helion? Snaking tendrils, Sol, she whispered, indicating the sun-shaped thing. She scanned the room again and turned to the 8-pointed star directly between Lakos and Thur, Midgard. So there's Sif, Orestes, Odin, Lakos, Thur, Faria, Sol, and Midgard. So that's 8-pointed star.
I thought there was one right before Sif.
She's talking about the constellations. Orion.
Yeah, there we go.
The Great Ladle, Orion. Great Ladle, Orion, Archer, Scorpio, Fish. So that's 5 constellations. And then the planets are Sif, Orestes, Odin, Lakos, Thur, Faria, Sol, and Midgard. So there's 5 constellations and 8 planets.
Okay.
So 16.
No, 8 and 5 is 14.
14.
That's right. 14.
Weird.
Sorry.
Weird. You said there was a harp on the 8-pointed star, a shallow nod. What kind of harp was it special? It can move its player between physical places. What else? Asriel lifted a hand toward Nesta as if he'd cover her mouth to shut her up. But she said, see, I fucking love him in this book. I love him. He's so funny. But she said, the harp is made. It can stop time itself. There we go. That's the 16th.
Huh?
The 16th is time itself. Remember? Meryl says time itself is itself a realm.
Oh.
That's the 16th. Duh. It stops time. Was there ever a made object called the horn? I don't know why. Someone put your harp there for a reason. To keep it hidden. No. This exact spot. It was left for someone like me. Yeah, like Nesta. I think all the carvings in the tunnels might be to remind us of what happened. The carvings tell a story, and they're an invitation to come here. Why, Asriel said. To find the truth. Dusk's truth. Yeah, and then she stepped into the star. All that shit happened. Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, duh. Time is the 16th planet. Well, actually, hell is too. Wait,
well, hell could be any
8 and 5. 8, 19, 11. Oh, 8 and 5 is 14, and then we have hell and we have time.
Well, so hell could be any one of those other planets. They just didn't have the name of what it was. Okay, so Midgard and Prithian share one star with the same name, Orestes. Okay, what if that is hell?
Perhaps. Okay. A grave. The faces are weird too. Like, unless actually Sith might be hell because it says there's a screaming face carved into it.
Possibly.
Like, why would it be screaming?
What do I need to know about Sith?
Screaming face. So screaming face is Sith. Grave male face is Orestes, who is the warrior. So that kind of makes sense. Odin, obviously the bearded male. Young laughing male is Lagos. Helmeted male is Thur. Female is Faria. And then it doesn't say. This is actually funny. It doesn't say what Soul's face looks like. Could it be Helion?
Or Mala?
Or Mala? Dude, what if it was Mala? Oh, shit. And then Midgard. We don't know what Midgard's face looks like either. I didn't even look into these. Obviously we know Odin, we know Thor, but like the other ones, Sif I had no idea was anything.
Yeah, that's Thor's wife.
Hello, Sif. Hello, Sif.
Sif is the Norse goddess of harvest and fertility.
So Lady A. Freaking Lady A.
The screaming face could be her giving birth, fertility, having babies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's the wife of the thunder god Thor and goddess of fertility and harvest. Mm-hmm. She is depicted with long golden hair. So,
like Thea, weird.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said Soul was Mala's face. Now I'm not gonna get that out of my head forever because that's so cool. I swear to God. Okay, you don't do reels. It bothers me because you have so many good ideas. You gotta do reels. Do some reels. I need to share your shit.
I just really hope that SJM
is Faria a thing or is it just Freya?
Faria?
Farya.
Give me a second.
Or should I look up Norse?
Farya.
Norse goddess? No, it's just Freya. Dang. She could, I mean, why would you keep all of the other ones pretty much similar and then just change this one?
My AI overview says in Norse mythology, the name Faria, Farya, likely refers to the goddess Freya.
Yeah.
Freya is a prominent figure, often depicted as the goddess of love, beauty, fertility, war,
magic, war, and death. Yeah.
And witchcraft.
Oh, here's the funny thing.
She is a Vanir goddess.
Yeah, Vanir.
Ah!
Which
and
we have not seen.
Sister of the god Freyr. Oh, yeah. Twins.
Freya is a boy, by the way.
Yes. One of my cats is named after him.
Yeah.
Freyr, yeah. Oh my God. Known for her beauty and her power over magic, her role in choosing warriors for her hall, where half of those who die in battle go. That's very similar to Morrigan.
Isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't it? She has a famous golden necklace and oversees fertility. She is a powerful satyr. Taught Odin this art, making her a significant figure in the world of magic and prophecy. Prophecy! Cormac's mama. She is also associated with cats and falcons. She is the... Oh no, I hate this so much. She is also known as Queen of the Valkyries.
Yep, she is.
I hate that so much because in Sif she was like, oh, when I get back from Balahan, I'll train with you guys. No! Fuck off! Nobody wants you there.
Hey, maybe it's time for her to grow up.
Maybe.
Her own traumatic past. She still lives in her trauma.
I know.
She just masked it very well.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Freya was Odin's wife.
We need something to make
it.
She's not going to make more evil.
That's Frigga.
Frigg, yeah. But it says some people believed they were the same goddess. They were originally one goddess, Freya and Frigg.
Yeah.
But for more, like, if SJM is not going to make more morally gray, bad person, like actually doing things like to manipulate the world, she needs to put her with people that we already like. That's going to make us like her. Just like forcing Lydia to hang out with Flynn, Declan, and freaking Rune. Oh, he says, you like them, you'll like Lydia since they like Lydia. I'm like, that doesn't make a difference to me, but I guess I have to get to know them all.
And then even the fucking Morrigan was connected to the Valkyries. I hate this! I don't want to like you!
And let's also remember, all of the priestesses are in that library who joined the Valkyries. And why are they in the library? Because more saved them.
But like, why? Like, yes, she does some good things, but why is she such a fake bitch to everybody? Like, why do you have to be like that?
Because she's been the center of attention for 500 years, and now it's blowing up in her face.
I'm the prettiest, and I'm the prettiest, and I'm the prettiest. Shut up! No one cares.
She's had 500 years with her boys.
Honestly, cut Laura's hair. Because if she, every other fucking sentence, she's flipping her hair. Like, I don't care. I want someone to just cut her hair in her sleep. Cut it. Stop it.
This is going to be your Lydia to and I don't like more, but I'm
blonde too.
But I don't like more. I'm just tolerant of more. Like, I'm meh with more. And I'm like open to see what
she's even worse because I will always hate sneaky people over loud, obnoxious, blunt people.
Oh,
because at least the loud, obnoxious, blunt people know they're fucking annoying. The sneaky people will fuck you over in the worst way, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Lydia to me is sneaky.
She is sneaky, but she's like more loud about it. So I'm like, whatever. I just like. How is she gonna fit all of this shit? Like, I know a lot of it's gonna be in Twilight of the Gods, but like, Prithian is a big part. Like, even Midgard is a big part of this. Like, how are you gonna actually?
Well, this is
the scope of these series now.
This is what I was saying a little bit ago, but I didn't finish my sentence. I don't know how SJM is going to do it, but she better do it where she closes all the loopholes.
She won't.
She gives us the story that we need to have so that we understand why the fuck did Bryce go to freaking Prithian? You know, why is half of Prithian's ancestors in Midgard?
Like, see, the thing is, she thinks that she already explained that in Hofa.
And I don't feel like
with
she
Celine.
did.
There's way too many holes. Like, we need the rest.
Many holes.
Yeah.
So I would like to have a close. I would like her to actually finish this, like, give us the close.
So in terms of my theory that the Tog gods were the very first Asteri that created, the secondary who created the third, kind of like they created each other. My theory that they were the first makes a lot more sense because I looked up the wiki, obviously, to look up the gods and goddesses. And I forgot, I've only read Tog once and I'm in like Empire of Storms. But I forgot that Oh, this is set in Empire of Storms, actually. I thought I forgot this, but I guess I haven't read it yet. It says, there's a quote here. It says, "They are not just gods, but beings of a higher, different existence, for whom time was fluid and bodies were things to be shifted and molded, who could exist in multiple places, spread themselves wide like nets being thrown. They were as mighty and vast and eternal as a human was to a mayfly. They had not been born in this world, perhaps had become trapped here after wandering through a word gate, and they had struck some bargain with her father, with Mala, to at last send them home, banishing Erewhon with them, and she had ruined it." They're talking about Elena because Elena was supposed. So Elena was Mala's the sun god. She has flames.
Yeah.
And she fell in love with a Fae king. She gifted him her flames, and he gifted them to Aelin when, Aelin was born, when they were ghosts.
Yeah, that was Brennan, right?
Brennan, yeah. So Elena was their child, and Elena was supposed to be the prophesized one, like the sacrifice to get all the Valg out of the world and to defeat Erewhon, who was a Valg king. And she basically said, "Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm tapping the next ancestor," which happened to be Aelin. Oh. And that's how Aelin got stuck with it. So, and then Aelin, the little thing on her forehead.
So is Aelin the granddaughter of Elena or the daughter of Elena?
Like the great.
Oh, so when you said tap in the next generation, you meant like hundreds of years down the line.
Yeah, the next, like, strongest, whoever came.
Okay, kind of like what Thea did with Bryce.
Mala is Aelin's grandmother.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
No.
How?
Grandmother.
Looking this up really quickly.
Mala was her grandmother.
I feel like Mala's way too old to be her grandmother. Hold on.
Okay. Unless I'm thinking of the other Fae queen that she's related to.
Yeah, no, it says distant ancestor. Mab, Mala, Brannon, and Mora.
Oh, so Mab is her grandmother.
It just says distant ancestor. We don't really know who her mother's Evelyn. Yeah, like we don't know who Evelyn's, let me see who Evelyn's mother is.
Mab is her
Mab was her mother's grandmother. So it's Aelin's great grandmother.
I thought it was her regular grandmother.
Yeah, Mab was her mother's grandmother. So she was Aelin's great grandmother. It says Evelyn. Evelyn's grandmother was Mab, and her aunt was Mora. So then Aelin's great grandmother was Mab. And then Mala's a distant ancestor. And then Dorian, distant cousin, Orlon, distant uncle or great uncle, Glaston, Adian, Lysandra, Galen, Gavriel. And then I love how people put Lydia, Brannon, Actaeon. They will never say that Lydia's her distant grandchild. It'll say distant relative. I hate that. But yeah, it's like, hold on. Anyway, my point is, they were the first Asteri. Doesn't that sound very Asteri-like? Oh, time is of no consequence, and they can just mold their bodies into whatever they want. And exist on multiple planets at once. That sounds like the mother.
But, like, isn't it pretty obvious that the Asteri and the gods are different?
Not really. The gods are, like, very vague. They became, like, the gods of their own sect. Like, there's, like, the god of love, and the god of this, and the god of that. But, like, I don't know. They just kind of present differently. Mm-hmm. But if they can really mold their bodies and shit, like they say, they can kind of present however they want.
Yeah.
So do we think that the mother is Sif, or do we think the mother is the three-faced goddess?
The three-faced goddess. But I keep going back to the cover of Hofas because that's the mother on the cover of Hofas with the word marks all up and down her arms, and arms? Who else had them on his arms? Mm-hmm. Cormac. Because the Underking is like, oh, this is word. which here in Midgard is Erd, which obviously in Prithian is the mother. So she only had like one, obviously she only had like one face in the statue though, so I was like, mm, mm, mm. Sarah has to like explain all this shit. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anieth was the Lady of Wise Things and Goddess of Slow Deaths.
I feel like, okay, I'm taking it back to Elaine and Lucian possibly being the next book. Okay, so with Feyre, we get night court powers, okay? So there's one of the solar areas, okay? Which is important. Like in all mythology, night, stars, and sun are the most important things that they pay attention to in mythology, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then in Nesta, and then in the next book where we switch from one sister to another, we get Nesta and we get the star stuff, the dust stuff, you know, we're starting to learn about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to do Elaine because
Athelian, sun shit.
Elaine connects us to the final god/goddess of major power, which is sun, you know? As much as we know stars are suns in science, in mythology, they had no clue that the suns and the stars were connected.
So do you think we're gonna see frickin' Aelin in Elaine's book? Because Elaine's name is an anagram of Aelin.
I hope so. I mean, you've seen me talk about it.
Yeah.
Of like, I feel like, why are you so upset about that?
I don't like Aelin.
Well, maybe we'll meet the older Aelin.
The old wrinkled ghost of Aelin.
I don't know, the one that's had 5 children and a husband.
Okay, that Aelin maybe I could deal with if she's
has run a court for more than like 200 years.
Okay, that Aelin, hopefully, but that's like Feyre 200 years from now, and I don't think I have faith that Feyre will ever grow up, so I don't know.
She is a mother now. She is a mother now.
She is, yeah.
But Nyx will still be her downfall.
Hopefully. I mean, what? Also, you little gatekeeper, Ecca. I am in the beginning of Empire of Storms, which I think you know.
Yeah.
You did not tell me.
You're supposed to read the book.
But all this time when we were discussing how I thought, you know, Lorcan in a lead were like Tamlin and Briar vibes and all this, you never once fucking told me what Lorcan's Fey power was. He's a shadow singer?
What?
He has shadow magic?
No, he has death magic.
It's shadows in Empire of Storms. I saw someone do a whole post on him using his shadows to attack things. When Aelin finally gets out of the coffin or something and is running, and he's using his shadows to attack people and kill people, the way that Rune did at the end of Hofas. And I'm reading here about the gods, and it says, Lorcan Salvatier's powers are said to be a gift from Hellas.
Yeah.
The dark god of violent death, ruler of the burning realm of the underworld. What?
Yep.
Hell. So shadow singers are hell magic.
Oh. I didn't even think about that. Cool.
Hellas serves a similar function to the Norse goddess Hel. H-E-L. Yes. The same way it is spelled on Midgard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
We'll get back to it. Aelin's pissing me off. Aelin's pissing me off.
Just wait.
I know. Lonnie was the goddess of dreams. Oh. I don't know if you read the I don't know if you read it. I don't know if you read the day 2 Nesta Week fic that I did, but I incorporated the Tog gods. I don't know how accurate it's gonna be, but it's like a whole history lesson with how. Anyway, there was Celine, and she was talking about the Tog gods and all this shit, and it was a pretty good fanfic, if I do say so myself. Yeah, but she was saying how like the way that Deanna attached to Nesta, she was saying how Lonnie attached to Thea and was giving her like all these dreams of grandeur, and that's why she wanted to take over worlds and stuff. But yeah, Loomis who I go over all the time. He is the firstborn, of the great goddess. So the great goddess must be the mother.
Yeah.
Loomis is the firstborn of the great goddess. He is known as the Lord of Gods and the God of Love. This is who I think Amren's father is. His birth is celebrated at Yulmus, hello solstice, and he's described with glistening wings. He is said to be the one to bring love and union to Aurelia after the chaos brought by the Gates of Word. It kind of sounds like how Amren was like destroying cities and shit. I don't know. Loomis is associated with light, and his name probably stems from the English verb illuminate. And as I said, Amren is like fire and light, and she has an iridescent crown above her head, and like she's like, oh, my dad knew I was different. He knew that I wanted to know what love was. Interesting, Amren. Very interesting. And I think he saw me, and he knew I would be better off in another world, and he let me go through the rift. Sounds like a god of love to me. I mean, it just does. I don't know who he fucked to get you, but I don't know, Maeve. I don't know. Mala Firebringer, which I just realized we have Mala Firebringer and Helion Spellcleaver. It's weird that they're using their like power as nicknames. That's
do you think there will be a difference? So Helion's called a Spellcleaver. Do you think there will be a difference if we meet a Spellweaver?
Well, he can do both.
Yeah, I mean we've seen him weave spells to put wards on a magical ancient cauldron.
He could literally just be Helion anything because he can fucking do anything.
I kind of hate that they put the Spellcleaver there. It would have been really nice to call him the Spellweaver.
I feel like Spellweaver might seem too close to Koshi, and that's why she's like.
Well, it would be close to the Weaver.
What if Helion is a Croaking prince?
Could be.
I don't know what that is.
It's a witch that looks fey.
Oh.
Well, it's like it's a witch that's like half fey, half human, or half fey, half, because I think the Iron Teeth are half Valg, half fey.
Yeah,
I don't know what
and a little bit of human.
It'd be very interesting if we found out that Helion. Okay,
and it would go with my theory that Ember's related to him because she looks like a human.
So bear with me as I get through this. Okay, what if Helion was always the High Lord heir, but he didn't want it, and the magic took into his consideration that he didn't want it, and gave it to his brother, and then when Amarantha killed the entire family, it had to finally pick. It had to go to him, because he is so powerful. He is so powerful,
so
and it's
Lucian.
like, and he should be giving Reese a run for his freaking.
I'm just like, who the fuck was Pylord before him? I just can't. And the way that he just, I mean, him and Tarquin and Callius technically, but Helion in particular, the way that he just automatically knows how to use his Pylord's powers, like,
yeah,
you haven't had that. You got them and then you immediately got them ripped away. How are you not going crazy?
Yeah, like he is doing so well as a High Lord,
And I think I mentioned in a
surface,
yeah,
on the surface, on the inside, he's a nuclear reactor.
I mean, we do know that he left Daycourt because there's some kind of stress.
Yeah, he's stressing.
I think they're asking for him to get an heir because he's the only family member of the royal family. So I'm not surprised.
Again, what the hell was his relation to the other one? I like to say it was a brother.
I thought it was a cousin.
Idea. No, that was
I like to think it's a brother / a twin.
I like to think it's a brother, but I wish it was confirmed.
I thought it was a cousin.
Tarquin's was a cousin.
Tarquin's
Nostris.
No, I know Tarquin was a cousin, but I thought Helion was a cousin too.
It's never confirmed. It doesn't say.
We don't know Callius's either.
Yeah.
I like to think Callius's was his father, Helion's was a brother, and Tarquin's was a cousin.
Yeah. I like to think that too. I think, and I'm hoping to find out that Helion's mother is still alive because we always keep killing off mothers, and it'd be nice if Lucian has a grandmother that he can connect to. He might not connect to his estranged father that he hasn't known for 350 years, but maybe he'll attach himself to a grandma
Also, when Helion was just like, oh, you know, I can like scent you or whatever, and he's like, what are you thinking of? And Cassian's like, your mom. That was such a Cassian thing to do, a your mom joke.
Yeah.
But it says Mala is the sun goddess, lady of light, learning, and fire. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Come on. This makes sense as to why Lady A and Helion, hello, distant cousins, just like Aelin and Rowan. Just saying, keeping the bloodlines pure here.
Yep.
Her sacred animals were they sun stags that Brannon brought to Aurelia and were later adopted as the royal symbol of Terrasen. Aelin, Axe River.
Elaine.
Yeah, stags.
So they're bringing the doe back into
Decor. I know.
Wait, isn't there a Greek animal that's a stag? Isn't it like a golden stag? No?
I have no idea. Aelin is the heir to Mala Firebringer's powers.
I think it's Welsh.
Welsh?
This is what freaks me out, especially now that we know that like Truth Teller unmakes people, but it says like Mala is said to have given up her immortality to be with her mortal lover. Fucking reminds me of Elaine, but ugh. As a result of that union, she is the mother of Elena. Elena claims that Mala sacrificed her human body in order to forge the lock that was improperly used by Elena to lock Erewhon in a tomb below the castle in Rifthold. Tiome is the lady of the Great Deep and the oceans. Obviously, I would assume the Mer. Pirates. I would assume that maybe that was one of the gods that Papa A would pray to. He is. I mean, I kind of see him as a pirate. Not gonna lie. I think he's still, like we discussed, I think he's descended from Rolf. Rolf was a human with magic. So Papa A could have still been a human with magic.
I think Jurian is related to Rolf.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Silba, the goddess of healing, healers, and gentle deaths. Hello.
Ooh, what if Jurian is an ancestor to the Archeron family?
Ew.
Why? Like not
because when Feyre was because when Feyre was Amaranth was Ianthe in shape-shifting, and like Jurian is like playfully teasing and flirting with her. It's just like, ew.
He's like, oh, pretend she's been lusting after me for weeks.
Well, I mean, if you're trying not to be caught,
I know.
Find your kidnapped sister.
It is kind of funny that he never flirted with any of them, though.
Yeah. And he was very concerned to get Lucian to his mate. Which might be. I mean, I'm not saying
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I'm not saying that Jurian is their like great grandfather. I'm talking about like he's like their great uncle.
Yeah.
Like
that would
his
be funny.
brother had them.
Yeah.
You know,
it'd still be gross.
No. They're so.
Hello, Aelin and Rowan.
Aelin and Rowan, possibly Lady
and Lady A.
Helion.
Yeah.
There's a separation of genetics that I don't agree with it.
Okay.
But in like fantasy stories where bloodlines kind of mix, there's going to be a point in time where you have to allow the separation of the genetics to allow the love story to happen.
Oh, there's another death god, your favorite.
Oh, yay.
Vanth. Not much is known about Vanth, except that she is the goddess of the dead. Oh! Could that be? No, well, I still think it's Deanna, but could that be who possesses Nesta when she wears the harp?
That would be nice. You mean the mask?
Mask, yeah.
That would be nice. Better than Deanna.
Sarah most likely adapted her from the Etruscan demon of the same name. So it makes sense to be Vanth when she's in the mask, but then maybe when she's scrying, it's Deanna?
Maybe.
God of Truth, Sin Eater, obviously is the Bone Carver. We've been over this. Silba, the goddess of healing, healers, and gentle deaths. Southern Continent, Dawn Court, Beeson. She's the goddess of the Torre Chesme worships. She also enabled Yrene Towers to completely heal Cael Westfall. I love how we can heal completely paralyzed people and grow back limbs and all these other planets, and then we have no C-sections. No, we do have C-sections, but Feyre still died. Sorry, Feyre. Out of luck. Lucian, you can't grow your eyeball back, but Rune can grow back a hand. It's fine.
Yeah.
Poor Nuon with a metal hand.
I think
like, I grew back a hand.
I think can grow back a trachea. It really surprises me the amount of damage that the people in Midgard can take and still regrow their stuff. It is crazy. Oh, have I told you my one unhinged thought about Crescent City?
I have no idea. Maybe
about Therion in the final battle.
Oh no,
he's naked through that entire battle.
I mean, he can just put his tail on. It's fine.
When the water's not touching him, he's in legs. And when he's in legs, he can't wear pants. Because we see him take his pants off every single time he puts on a tail.
No, do not traumatize the teenage boys. No.
He is running around through that Asteri castle naked as all hell.
I think he has his little clamshell over his junk.
He's standing in
the pocket. The pocket.
Standing with Lydia, looking at these twin teenage boys who are being held by.
It's a giant clamshell. It's like Ariel with the clam bra, but just with the packet.
Oh my god! At least it's 100%. Not a starfish.
No, yes.
Oh no.
No, I've always been like, unless his new powers allow him to manifest clothes.
Yeah.
I told my friends this, and they're like, please don't. Why do you have to ruin? I'm like, I'm not ruining anything. This is the lore that
Sarah just doesn't think of this shit.
That SJM has created.
Oh no.
The mer can only change into their fins if they take off all their clothes. They can only change back into their legs and then have to find the clothes that they took off. He is swimming with his fins the entire time until he gets rid of the water, and then he's in his legs.
Why did I never think of that? I don't want to know. I didn't want to know. Why did you tell me?
Because I love Therion, and I'm just going, how do I feel about naked Therion just running through the Asteri Palace?
See,
I feel good about it.
I have watched so many little kid mermaid movies where they just shift with their clothes on and then they're back in their clothes after.
This is the lore SJM created.
I know. I hate it.
Come on.
I mean, at least he's confident.
At least it's Therion. Yes, he has had to come to terms with the fact that people are going to see him naked at all times. So
that's cute.
He is not bothered being naked in a battle.
No. I mean, Rune was probably kind of annoyed when he was trying to heal him.
I just feel bad for the two teenagers that had to look at him.
So this one clamshell between the legs.
I hate that. She only said that as a glib.
No, that is like how. Yeah, the lore. The three-faced goddess was actually a original witch. The witch goddess, the Iron Teeth witch goddess. I keep saying I think more is an Iron Teeth witch. She's adapted from Hecate. She has 3 heads for the 3 clans. Oh, that's what they are, clans. The Blue Bloods, the Black Beaks, and the Yellow Legs. Goddess of Wild Things might be like Spring Court. Talon. Oh yeah, shapeshifters. There you go. Timus is shapeshifters. Farnor is the god of war.
Cassian.
Yeah. Bast is a warrior goddess. Sarah most likely adapted her from the Egyptian goddess Bastet, or Bast, a lioness goddess.
I hated that they kept calling Nesta a wolf, just like Feyre. I was like, can you call her something else? Like,
call her, I don't know,
a lioness. Like, why do we have to call her a wolf? I mean, maybe lions just don't exist in this world. I don't know.
I actually have a headcanon that Lady A's nickname for Helion is Lion.
Yeah, I saw that one the other day. But
it's cute.
But I was like, oh, but I guess the reason why they have to call Nesta a wolf just like Feyre is because Nesta and Feyre are so similar to one another.
Yeah.
But still.
But that just goes back to the fucking thing that she signed in the book. I was a wolf.
Yeah.
And I bit when cornered. Like, that's so Nesta coded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could just be it could just be a whole Valkyrie book.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the whole Dusk Court Valkyrie book. Because that would also be a very long book if it's another like crossover type thing with the rest of the lore.
We'll find out.
It does say, like, Gwen actually says in the quote, like, chapter 21, she read the first few lines beneath it, nearly dropped the pages. This is a book about us, she tells them, about the rebirth of the Valkyries and what we're doing. And then Emery says, you had this much to say about us. It says, Gwen rubbed her hands together, with more to come. And then it's talking about them. And it says, Gwen's fingers slid into hers, squeezing tight. Nesta looked up to find her holding Emery's free hand as well. Gwen smiled, her eyes bright. Our stories are worth telling. With more to come.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not going to happen. I'm just saying we still have an entire sister we have not explored her powers for, and we have a very dangerous person on this planet that we need 3 sisters with 3 strong powers to help defeat.
You're also going to need the Valkyries for that, though.
But the Valkyries we already know have trained.
Yeah.
The Valkyries are ready. They just need to do battle stuff, okay?
Well, I mean, you kind of need a unit.
Anything.
You're going to need more than 3 of them.
Well, we can assume we're going to do canon off-base canon lore that if these 3 can
there's like
the blood right.
8.
16. I think there's like 16 of them.
Yeah, something like that.
So we're going to assume off-base canon lore that if these 3 can defeat the blood right, the other 16 of them can also defeat the blood right, because it's said in the book that they passed the obstacle course.
Yeah, the qualifier,
the qualifier. But the next group was not far behind them.
Yeah.
And that's Rosalind's group. Or Rosalie?
Yeah,
Rosalind.
Ananka, Rosalind, and Deirdre.
Yeah. Their group is
and
not
then they
far
had
behind them.
And then I think they did it. And then I think it was Lorelai and I forget the other girl's name. Lorelai and someone else. Oh, Alana.
But for them to even get to the qualifier, that means that they have to slice the ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these girls have sliced the ribbon, proving that they're Valkyries, and now they're qualifying, which proves that they can go into the blood right. And if the first 3 can defeat the blood right, the next set will too.
That's 8. I just realized that's 8 girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 for each point of the 8-pointed star.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to say we don't really need an entire book to watch Rosalind's group go into the blood.
Oh, no. I'm saying I think that it might be like obviously after that. I'm saying it might be like the Dusk Court stuff and them like finally going on like their first like quests, like without Cassian and Azrael, defeating people, shit like that. And that would kind of build them up to being at the level of being able to fight Koshi eventually.
Yeah. I understand.
Because I still think that Dusk is going to be the court of Valkyries and
heal. Hamlet still needs to heal before the Koshi.
Hamlet needs to heal too. It's like there's so much that needs to happen before this war.
Yeah, we know that Lucian needs to come into his powers. Elaine needs to come into her powers. Tamlin needs to heal and come back into his powers.
The Dusk Court needs to be settled. We need to know what the fuck's going on with Helion.
I really don't think
Baron needs to die already.
Yeah, I know you're like super in love with the Dusk Court. I am not. I just don't think the Dusk Court's going to make a big, huge difference in this stupid ass war.
I do because it's going to fucking throw off Rhys.
But we don't want Rhys to be thrown off when we have to battle a death god.
That's the point. It's going to be an issue. And because then it's going to put Nyx at risk. And then Farrah's going to be thinking about Nyx. And then everything's going to be dire, which is the stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Moore still hasn't gotten the fucking continent to sign the treaty to protect humans. Either.
Yeah.
Everyone is hanging out on the island without a king.
But I mean, I just don't.
There's so much.
I just don't care about the Dusk Court at all.
It is my home now.
Yeah.
It's mentioned like for 5 seconds, and it was ruled by an evil queen.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. That's the point. Nesta's not evil.
And right now, there's an entire trove of evil death gods, demi-death gods living in it.
Yeah, Nesta has to defeat them.
She's not going to defeat them. She barely defeated the worm.
Hey, they were in the pitch darkness, okay? It wasn't lit up like a Christmas tree for a trial. She was thrown off. It wasn't expected. It was completely different from Therese. again, unprepared. Whereas Amarantha was like, ready for your trial? Go into the worm pit. I wonder what's in the worm pit.
Well, I mean, Feyre didn't get to like prepare either. She got dumped into a.
But that's why the worm couldn't like sense her very well, because like it thrives in the dark and it was like bright and shit.
Yeah.
So that's why she had to cover herself in worm shit. So it couldn't sense her by smell.
But what else? I don't know. I'm just not in love with the Dust Court. It's not something that she's really gonna have to sell it on me, and I don't want to book now.
I just need it's Rhys's consequence for being a total pissant the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he knows nothing about his ancestors. Nesta's gonna take this whole fucking chunk of his court back, and he hates Nesta. That's mostly why I'm excited about it, because like
That was another thing with SJM that I just did not understand why she changed the lore, because we ended Silver Flame with Rhys being so gracious to Nesta and her sacrifice for his family.
But being grateful for a couple minutes is not like, oh, I'm completely changing who I am at heart.
It wasn't a couple of minutes. He was so gracious. He was changing how he saw her to the point where he gifted her favorite house.
He was setting up for her wedding to Cassian because he just couldn't wait to marry her off to Cassian. I don't think that happened, and I think that's why he backtracked.
Well, I mean, Nesta's
didn't work.
The one that wanted to get married to Cassian, you know?
Yeah, but something changed. Something changed. I don't know what it was. Nobody knows what it was. But something happened.
This is again one of those things of why do you sometimes do this, SJ, and why do you shoot your characters in the goddamn foot? Like, we were having a redemption arc between Rhys and Nesta, and I was happy with it.
That's why it has to come back into play. And the thing is, she did whatever the fuck it was off page. Because it also whatever it did took away the bargain that she got when she saved Feyre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, what magic is strong enough to do that?
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if she doesn't go back to it, like why technically the wedding didn't happen, why they're not wearing rings, why they hate each other so much, like something fucking happened off page that was big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just scared that she's going to forget to ever go back to it.
Maybe Elaine stopped the wedding.
I would fucking love that. That was one of the possibilities that I actually do in like one of my skit reels, where it's like I forget what the audio. Oh, it's the audio of the Voila song, the wedding song, where it's like something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, and then he's like, oh, I'm the old, and then it's like a wedding song and someone stops the wedding. And I was like, this is so Elaine. But if she had, okay. Elaine has a vision of Cormac and Nesta and is like, that is not Cassian. Because if her visions are getting clearer, hopefully, if Lucian's around, if her visions are getting clearer, maybe she would realize that if she did see Hunt the last time and it wasn't Cassian, that was happening. And then if she saw Cormac, she would obviously realize that he wasn't Cassian.
Yeah.
If we got a fucking flashback of Elaine stopping their wedding.
And this is why she's not at court. She had to run away. She had to flee.
The most badass thing she could have done was stop that goddamn wedding.
Although Azriel does use her name to try and pull Nesta out of the death mask. Yeah. So
I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
But we'll find out in Lucian's book.
I hope we find out. If she does not tell us what happened off page, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah. I still haven't found I need to find out if the Silver Flames has an excerpt or something at the end indicating ACOTAR 6 and nobody's posted about it or something. Because everyone bought the books.
I know.
Not to reread them.
I know.
But so nobody's re-looking at all the books. So I need to go to Books A Million and...
I wish you told me that. When I was there the other day, I could have peeked. Dang.
And so
I doubt it, though, because it only has the Phazan bonus chapter in it. Waterstones has the rights to that one and to the Azriel bonus chapter. Literally, by context clues, the only possible fucking fake mates is Nessian.
Yeah.
And that's not even because I don't like Nessian. That's just context clues in the book that Phazan and Aleutian literally have the same instincts.
Yeah. I'll be at work and totally forget. Oh, I totally forget not to even look at Tumblr. And it'll be like 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, I haven't been on Tumblr at all tonight. Turn on Tumblr, and it's like, what the fuck happened?
That's me with TikTok. I'll check after like 3 days and I'm like, shit. And it's like 55 comments. And I'm like, oh no. Because Carmen and Candy and Antoinette and everyone tags me in all their videos. And then I get all the comments from all their videos. And I was like, oh my God.
I was super removed. You remember when that article came out and then the Elreals were all pissed because like the article was saying like Nesta didn't change Elaine's anatomy to carry Illyrian.
She didn't. I love how they claim that we can't say something is canon unless it's on page, but then they can say, "Oh, well, Nesta did. It's not on page, but she did." Really? Okay, hypocrite.
Yeah. Well, I was completely not on internet at all that day. I was like doing 3,000 other things, and then it was like 6 o'clock at night, and I turned on my Tumblr, and everyone's talking about fucking Elaine's anatomy and how it's so rude to be talking about her anatomy. God. And I was like, what the hell happened?
It's in world fucking lore. In a fantasy book that is not real life, guys. Winged babies is not real life. Stop.
And then the tote thing, I was like, oh shit. That's why I wrote my the tote thing. I was like, oh, as soon as I saw the tote being shared in
I knew it.
The group chat, I was like, oh fuck, all the Elreals are going to be on top of this. But then I had to instantly like go to Tumblr and write my thing. And then I saw that you wrote something and Court of Thorns already wrote something. And I was like 3 hours behind. I was like, just so you know, I didn't copy you guys. I just wrote my own thing.
Wrote something. I was like, I was pissed because I was like, the House of Wind doesn't even have a fucking garden.
What? Yes. Like I did not even read your comment. I was just in the group chat and I was talking to Brianna. And she was saying something. I was like, this is so stupid. Because first of all, Elaine never lived in the House of Wind. Yeah. Second of all, like,
it doesn't have a fucking garden.
Who the hell can get up to the House of Wind for a garden club? And third of all, the House of Wind doesn't even have a fucking garden.
This is what pisses me off. I'm like, you're telling me that you couldn't find any other fucking Elaine merch that is actually accurate to fucking canon.
No,
to give to bookstores.
These were a bunch of interns. If this is any type of major
shit,
merch, it's most likely Etsy. It's most likely some kind of famous Etsy person that they then hired. But either way, this is
it is very much an overseas company that mass produces shit.
Yeah,
because it was on Amazon and it was sold out when I looked. But it's definitely like an overseas fucking cheap ass company.
And all they did was a Google search for top things about the Night Court and Elaine.
Elaine Garden. Merch.
Elaine Garden and Night Court House of Wind.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're not.
Can you double fucking check to make sure it's canon?
Yeah. Like all they did was a Google search of Elaine and Night Court.
It literally pisses me off. I'm like, that is the least you can do when you are working for the publisher of the series.
Yeah.
And people got pissed at me for calling it out. Saying I'm rude and I need to scroll by and I'm fucking obnoxious. And I was like, this is quality control.
Yeah.
Of a goddamn major fucking publisher.
And on top of that, you are taking something that obviously is not canon truth as canon truth.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
It isn't even a major scene. It doesn't matter. It does matter.
Especially if they're going to put Elaine in the Night Court.
Yeah. You're telling me if you were an author and Bloomsbury was your publisher and you wrote this whole book, right? You're gonna not know that a detail of major merch that's going out to promote your 10th anniversary is wrong and you're not going to be mad about it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a tiny detail. It could say, some side character that died in book 2's hair color is completely wrong. That's still wrong, canonically. And you should know who you're promoting when you're promoting them if you're their publisher.
Yeah.
And Bloomsbury isn't some dinky indie publisher. You're a major fucking publisher. Yeah. You should not be making mistakes like this.
Yeah.
In your quality control. And this just goes back to everybody being pissed about the special editions. There is nothing special about them. There's no bonus content. There is completely lackluster sprayed edges that look like shit.
Yeah.
There is a stamp on the back which is freaking tiny compared to the actual cover and looks like crap.
Mm-hmm.
All it is black. That's it. Yeah. The pages aren't even black. It would have even been cooler if the pages themselves were black and it was printed in white ink. Because I've seen that on special editions.
That would have been really cool.
That would have made more sense.
That would have been really cool, yeah.
So they used the cheapest quality for their so-called special editions with no bonus content, no extra bonus chapters, no, character art, nothing.
Yeah.
They just added to over-consumerism.
Yeah. It's a fucking cash grab. And then for the major ACOTAR, event that they've been promoting for months within their bookstores, they decide to go with the cheapest quality, Chinese or whatever company overseas that is mass producing a bag that has non-canonical, incorrect information from the books on it.
Yeah.
So not only do you look like a fucking chump once, you look like an asshole twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 2 strikes already. And if I was SJM, honestly, I would be fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
I would be furious.
Well, I mean, there is some disclaimer out there. Court of Thought has it on hers where it's like over the tote saying something like, this is not official merch. It has nothing to do with the next book.
Yeah. Like, and you can say that all you fucking want. But
like,
we have seen them unboxed from the bookstores that are getting them, and they have the ACO10 tags put on them. So you had to take them out of the box to have somebody put all the fucking tags on them from Bloomsbury.
Yeah.
And then ship them out. So you had to know.
Bloomsbury mass ordered them and then shipped them out to the different locations. Yeah. And it's like Bloomsbury, just because it's not official merch and it's not a representation of what's to come, you put something out that has no canon representation in the books.
Yeah.
And you're unsure why the hell the fandom is now in shambles.
Yeah.
Because you put something out that makes them go in shambles.
And you cannot say, oh, it's not official merch when you're putting your official fucking tag on it.
Exactly.
They put the ACO10 tags on it.
Mm-hmm.
On the totes.
Yeah.
People can buy them from this event, from the bookstores, with the Bloomsbury tag on it.
Mm-hmm.
So by doing that, you are claiming it as official merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just as bad. I don't care what minor detail it was. What if Elaine's name had been spelt with an E at the end? Would you then be more pissed?
Yeah.
But just because it's a location, it doesn't matter. It does matter. The locations in the book matter. The canon scenes in the book matter. The spelling of the names matter. All of canon matters when you're promoting a book series.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's disrespectful to the author, mostly.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we as a fandom are pissed and we are not seeing Sarah J. Maas being upset. She should be furious behind the scenes. I wouldn't blame her for being furious.
She could be. We don't know. She
was promoting those special editions that she gave the okay to when they look like shit. But
not be contractual. She has to do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's just like the Game of Thrones actors having to promote the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Even though they were not happy with the last season of Game of Thrones, Yeah. So she has to promote the stuff because her name is on it and she's contractually obligated to promote anything that has her name on it.
But on the same breath, to be able to create something with her works, they need to get her permission. She had to have been given proofs of these.
Yeah. Well, we don't know how well her
or her team.
Like J.K. Rowling has one hell of a contract. Like everything has to go through her to get approved, to go on shelves, to go on websites, to go into movies, to go into TV shows. So we don't know what SJM's contract is. She might not have J.K. Rowling's contract, and her contract is just you write the books, we sell the books, we give you your part of the profits from the books, but you are required to promote the books.
Sign off.
That comes off on it.
I just think it's weird because I have been denied certain designs that I wanted to use for commissions and shit. Yeah. But your fucking publishing company is using non-canonical things, but I made 2 designs where a fucking comma was off. And they're like, oh, fix it before you can use it.
Yeah.
It's just the fucking hypocrisy to me.
It just makes no sense. Like, the tote would have worked just saying Elaine's Garden Club, meeting at the River House. That's where she...
You didn't even have to say meeting at anything, just Elaine's Garden Club.
Elaine's Garden Club. You could even... I mean, if you needed to say meeting somewhere, you could have even used Rita's for all we care. At least that's in
the townhouse.
the town that she lives in, the town that she walks through.
Yeah.
But you use the House of Wind. Do you know that the people that would
Nobody
be going to this club can get to it? There's no way to get up there.
Good luck getting up those stairs.
So idiotic.
I would be furious if I was a SJM. I just would. You're putting your tags on this shit and you're saying, oh, it's not official merch, but you're literally deeming it official merch by putting your tags on it. So you can't say that it's not because it has your brand on it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And like
you're allowing it to be sold under this name, under this publisher. You're making a profit off of it.
Yeah. So it's official merch to you.
So it's official merch to you if you're going to make a profit off of it, you know? So, but you should put more effort into making sure things are canon fact.
Correct.
Yeah, Elaine doesn't have a garden club. Yeah. I'm not bothered by non-canon. It's canon compliant.
Yeah, it's cute.
We know she has a garden. We know she likes to garden. We know she's helping the people of Valaris create new gardens in
hell, she could.
So she could have a garden club.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is it would not be meeting at the House of Wind.
Yeah. And again, you're going to tell really, really tiny Etsy owners that if they get a fucking comma or asterisk or whatever wrong, go fix it until we can approve it for you to use. But yet then you're using someone's completely wrong design for your official merch.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is disgusting. To a higher level with her publisher, I have no idea what her contract is. I would hope that they would have to go through her. And then just the complete radio silence is getting annoying.
Yeah, that it is.
Like, she literally used to give updates at least every 6 months.
Yeah.
And I wholly get not being on social media because of all of people bullying, threatening your kids. Like, that is not okay.
Yeah.
I was the first person to say that's fucking disgusting and not okay.
Yeah.
But you made a living off of the people that made you famous. You don't have an obligation to us, but it's kind of common decency to at least give us an update through your team every year at least. Oh, hey, I'm here in the process. I'm here in the process. Or you'll have to wait this many years. You don't even have to tell us anything specific. Just a very vague timeline. Literally anything.
Yeah.
There's someone that will, message me sometimes, and she's like so adamant that she's not reading Crescent City or Tog. I'm like, you're gonna be so fucking confused. And she's like, yeah, I'll figure it out eventually. I was like, really?
Why? If you're gonna dedicate all that time to read 5 books and you're now waiting for the 6th book, why do you not just read the other
I tried to tell her that. She's like, well, I didn't really like her writing that much. I just kind of want to know what happens, and that's it. Like,
best way to do that
but is she making ACOTAR talk content?
Yeah, she's like, oh, I love discussing ACOTAR with you. I know it makes no sense. I have tried relentlessly to be like, please, you don't even have to read Tog. Just read Crescent City. Just
like
no, I don't want to. It just doesn't seem like my vibe, girl.
Like that's the thing that
it wasn't my favorite, but
that's the thing that I get frustrated with. It's like, okay, you're a casual reader of ACOTAR. You barely surface read it. You don't do psychological deep dives of the characters. Okay. You say that you just read it because you wanted to know what was going to happen, and you're only paying attention to the next stuff coming out because you're waiting. But you won't read the other work in the mass universe. But yet you're going to make content that gets you views, that gets you followers, that gets people to think that you know everything about this damn book.
And then these are the same type of people, like not this girl because she's really nice, but there's a bunch of people like her who will not read the other books, and they'll literally come into comments and argue shit. And then you find out later that they never read the other 2 series.
Yeah. Yeah. There was someone on Tumblr today. I actually wrote in the group chat, but she's like reading ACOTAR for the first time. And I understand both ships for Elriel and Aleutian. And she's like, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, I just really would like to know, like, how do you guys separate? How do you categorize which ship you're with? And then I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, this is easy. She's like, this is my first time. I'm only halfway through war. I just got to the part where Lucian left to go find Vasa. So I kind of understand why there's an Elriel, because with Lucian not there, that means Elaine can spend time with Azriel, which will develop feelings. I was like, okay, I want to talk to you about this. Get into her freaking comment area. she has the comments turned off.
Yeah.
I was like,
of course.
I'm like, I'm not reblogging you just to tell you the history of the characters.
Yeah.
Put your goddamn comments on and I will talk to you.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's like, why are you asking?
I mean, I'm wondering if she's
an actual question and she has the comments turned off.
I'm wondering if she's just been getting the same Elriel bullshit.
Yeah.
In her comments.
Of course, an Elriel
because they're fucking rude. They're all fucking rude. Mm-hmm. Well, I should say all. There's a couple that are in our chat group.
Well, the fact like
most of them are fucking rude.
The fact that she's open to either one.
Yeah.
And that she can see why Elaine
makes her a target to them.
That's their target. They're like, oh, it's a first-time reader. She has questions. Mm-hmm. She's open to both ships. Oh, she's thinking that the reason that Elaine has feelings for Asriel is because Lucian left her to go.
And they're gonna be like, no, him giving her truth teller was romance and all the bullshit.
And it's like, just so you know, after Lucian leaves, Elaine, Elaine and Asriel spend no time together from then till
Solstice and Fast.
No, not even that. Like, I mean, it's before that. Like, they spend time together when he has to rescue her.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that's it. There's no major conversation. There's no like, oh, let's talk about our feelings as I'm running away from the hellhounds, you know? And they're ripping my wings to shreds.
Oh, that's something I wanted to bring up that I don't think I've ever really gone into in detail. But I really, really, really want, I know I've talked about Briar in terms of Tamlin, but I really want her and Elaine to be friends.
It would be nice.
Like, even if she doesn't end up with Tamlin, which I'd probably cry, but even if she doesn't end up with Tamlin, I really want her and Elaine to be friends. Elaine stomped on that fucking hellbeast to save Briar from it. And she, like, grabbed, like, the back of her neck and, like, pulled her into her.
Yeah.
It was like, jump now if you want to live!
Yes.
Like, grabbed her. Like, I want them to be besties. They would be such good besties. I don't know. I feel like that was definitely a moment of weakness for Briar, but I do feel like she's going to have, like, the more spicy personality.
Oh my god, can you imagine if Elaine, Briar, Vasa, and the two Wraith twin girls all go on a quest with Lucian?
Oh no.
And Lucian's just like, how did I get stuck with all the girls?
That's Elaine's girl group. That's her found family. That's her garden club.
And all you want to know the best part? The best part is the four girls get to learn who Lucian is, and they keep looking at Elaine, and at night they're like, is there a reason you don't want to sleep with him? Because he's really hot. And he's really nice. Especially
I could also like vibe with like jealous Elaine, where like she thinks that like Vasa wants him and she's kind of mad, but she also doesn't want him at the same time because Vasa's there.
Yeah,
and then Vasa just being like, why the fuck haven't you banged his brains out yet? Because I would have if he wasn't attached to you. And then Elaine being like, that's my man.
Can you imagine Vasa telling Elaine, you know how many times I asked him to come to my bed and how many times he said I'm a mated male?
I want that so badly. And then just Briar being like, what is wrong with you people? And then them just being like, you'll get it when you get your own mate. And she's like, I don't think I'll ever get a mate. And then lo and behold, the mate.
And then the Wraiths are like, you do know he's better than all three of the Bat Boys, right?
The Wraiths like, take us as far away from the Night Court. What does the Spring Court look like? We'll even deal with the beast.
Like, can you imagine the Wraiths like doing something and then looking at Lucian like afraid that he's gonna get mad, and he's like, oh, we can fix that.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you're not mad that we screwed it up, and he's like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like Rhys is so ridiculous. I'm actually kind of afraid that she's gonna kill them off because I've gone over this, but she like kills like all the twins. A lot of the twins.
Yeah.
Twins. Poor Nuala and Cara Dwyn. They're just like nobody brings them up, but like they're part of the reason I also hate Rhys. I've said it a million times, but he literally treats them like slaves, and I hate it. They're not invited to any of the parties unless they're serving them. Have you noticed that? Like they're not around. They're not allowed to like just sit around with them and talk.
I wonder if they'll like go into like what Wraiths are, because like we barely touched the surface in Crescent City about Wraiths with Victoria. So
And it's funny with them because they're half Fae and half Shadow Wraith. And usually, like with Victoria, Shadow Wraiths have to be bound into a body because they're just like in essence a shadow, technically.
Yeah.
So like, how does that work? I loved it was so rude, but I loved how Amryn was like, the High Fae will fuck anything. Like, how do you fuck a shadow? Like, I mean, I guess.
Well, if the Shadow Wraith is already
in a body, yeah,
possessing a body,
yeah,
then a Fae has sex with that body, it's partially Shadow Wraith. I mean, there's an anime that's like that too.
Weird, yeah, it's weird.
There's anime like that too, where like someone's possessing a body,
Yeah,
then they have a baby with someone else, and that baby takes on the traits of the person possessing the body, not the body.
Holland.
So
sounds like American
Holland
Horror
Havilyard. Dorian's brother. He's such a fucking Valg child. He's so evil.
Mm-hmm.
He has the traits of the evil Valg, but not the magic. He's just like a despicable child. His mom like gets him like a zoo or something for his birthday, and he's like, I want to kill all the animals. Like, he's fucking crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like, nobody wants this kid in the palace. Even Dorian's like, oh, fuck, Holland's coming home from boarding school tomorrow. They're like, oh, shit, prepare the palace for this fucking evil kid coming back.
Yeah.
Like, so he, like, got the traits of the Valg that was possessing the king, but Dorian didn't.
Yeah.
So weird. But I just really, really want Elaine's found family to be like Brylan and Jassa. And I would also love Eris and Nuwan to join, but again, I don't really think he's going to get a love interest, sadly. I think it's just going to be like, when's your daughter? And you have the love of your child. Which, she's always fucking over Eris. Poor Eris.
I'm hoping she'll give him a good ending. I'm hoping she gives everyone a good ending. I mean, she's talked about, like, who knows? Like, I was watching one of
Happy Ever Afters.
I was watching one of her interviews, and she's like, "Yeah, I have three more ACOTAR books, but who knows? You never know if there's gonna be 10 more after that."
She's like, "But it's like an unlimited number."
I'm not ready to give up my characters. I love being with my characters. That's why I have all these extra books for them.
Yeah, but I also love how another interview there, Steph was like, "Who's your favorite person from the Autumn Court, and why is it Eris?" And she's like laughing. She's like, "You love Eris." So like, I'm the type of person where I am obsessed with like pairing everyone off for their happily ever afters. And I know that you're gonna get like these feminist queens who are like, they can be alone and they're girl power. And I was like, no.
SJM has proven that she likes to pair off her characters too.
Yeah.
Tog gets paired off except for one.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Fenris. Yeah. Okay. So
and then
Vaughn.
Huh?
And Vaughn.
Oh yeah, Vaughn. Poor Vaughn.
And then in Crescent City, we already see everyone pairing off. We have Bryce with
Baxian.
But Baxian was paired off. He just lost to the love of his life.
I know.
But he's doing okay. He's making it through. He has Bryce and Hunt that's there for him. And we'll see what happens, you know? Yeah. But I mean, we have Bryce and Hunt, we have Rune and Lydia, we have Mark and Declan. We're already seeing signs for Therion and Safia, for Ivan and Perry, and for Flynn and Ari, you know?
Oh God. Oh God.
There's a scene in Crescent City. There's a scene in Crescent City 3 where something was being said by Flynn, like he was flirting with somebody, and then someone just randomly said, "I thought you loved Ari." And he's like, "We're not going to talk about that right now."
Well, also he's flirting with Perry at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And you see Ethan's mate instincts.
Yeah, he was not happy with it.
He gets so pissed.
Yep.
I was like celebrating. I go, oh my God, he is so mad right now that Perry's like laughing back and Flynn.
God, he better not take Perry anywhere near Therion, because Therion will have her in tears and joyous laughter. And then he's going to lose his best friend.
I think I obviously love Therion and Sathya, but they're going to have that whole fucking Colin thing. But I'm so fucking excited for Ethan and Perry. I have loved them since book 1, and they're so underrated. Nobody pays attention to her. And I love her. I love her so much.
Oh, I've been hooked on Perry and Ethan since book 1 too.
Yes, she's the VVVIP.
What was it? I think I said, "Oh yeah, I like the two of them together." And someone's like, "Why?" I was like, "They're showing signs of possibly being mates." And like, how? I was like, Ethan keeps commenting on her scent. like making a comment about the scent that he feels from her.
Yeah.
And it was really prominent.
I do think that she's wearing like something to cover her scent.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But
we know that Amelie's an alpha. And she's supposedly like an omega or something, but I don't believe that. I think she might be stronger than her sister.
Yeah.
And maybe that's an insult because I think she's Amelie's younger sister, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But she has to be pretty fucking powerful if she's the mate of the
I'm just trying. Okay, so I'm from the ABO community on fanfiction.net, Omegaverse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that shit. I got started reading again from fucking Fated to the Alpha, so I get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, I need to go to bed.
When I hear Alpha, Beta, Omega, like I instantly go to Omegaverse, but SJM's not writing it that way.
I know.
And it drives me up a wall. I'm like, if you're gonna have alphas and omegas and betas, then you need to write it the correct way, you know? Like you can't have
I was hoping she would kind of go all like
Omegaverse
on Tam. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, what is up with Perry's fucking scent? She's using the thing to cover her scent.
But it keeps breaking through so that Ethan can smell her. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to their love.
And then he's like, oh, she smells like strawberries. And I was like, I love strawberries. She smells like strawberries. I don't know. I loved that. But he's like, oh, it was so different from the scent that he smelled earlier. So I was like,
yeah.
What is happening, girl?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
Who are you?
What keeps going on between your scents? You know?
If she ruins them, I will never forgive her.
She can't ruin them. They have to be good. Just like Sathya and I would be okay with a throuple for Therion, Sathya, and Collins.
I mean, like, Therion would do that.
Personally, I feel like Therion is the Helion in Crescent City. He will sleep with anything.
Everyone is like, Therion was so bi-coded. I'm so mad she made him straight. I was like, eh.
I really thought Therion and Ethan were starting to.
Oh my god, that's what people. You're the person that reads those fanfics, aren't you? Yeah. I knew it. I hate them. I hate them so much. I'm like, I can't see it. Their friends stop. That's like Tamlin and Lucian. I can't.
Oh, I read that too. That's my crack shit.
The only time I will read that is when I'm respecting people during Tamlin week.
Okay.
I have to give kudos but I'm like. The whole time I'm like,
So my thing with the Elreals, I'm like, if Elreal does happen, I do not want Vassian. I would like Tamsian.
Oh god, no, no.
I'll take.
And then we have people just shipping him with Vassa and Jurian.
I don't like that one. That's not my throuple. No. It's the same. My throuple. I'm not for that throuple. I'm not for the Azriel, Elaine, Lucian throuple.
Yeah.
I am only for Therion. Is the only character that I got bisexual from, and in the actual canon lore. So that's why I would be open to him and Collins and Sathya. Yeah. But I don't think SJM would ever write a throuple because it's just out of her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like if you are not comfortable and you don't know enough of something, don't write about it. That's what fanfiction's for. I can read the throuple in fanfiction. I know. You know?
What do you think, like what do you in your head think is happening with Perry?
I don't know.
Do we think that she always kind of knew that he was going to end up as Prime? Is that why she was like leading him?
Yeah, I think she always knew even the old Prime knew that the Halavards had the Holstroms. Even the old Prime knew.
That's funny though, because he does have Dorian's ice magic. So
yeah. So even the old Prime knew that the Holstroms had Prime alpha.
Yeah, they were they were like the OG, and then I think the Asteri just put the Fenrir above them.
Fenrir in there. So if anything with Perry, she probably felt the primeness in him. And she was attracted to that because if it does follow a little bit of the ABO universe, and ABO universe is very similar to Fate universe. It's about the sense. It's about feeling connected to a scent.
Me and my friend have been RPing in ABO universe for almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
So and we've gone through like the whole pack at this point. Like we keep making up new characters. We just
yeah,
made up another one.
So it's important in ABO universe to have the sense, to have the connection to sense. Like the mate bond that is in the Fae world, they have a scent to them also, but the scent is not what brings them together, is the mate bond. In ABO universe, it's the scent.
It's very connected, interconnected.
Yeah, the scent and the bond is connected.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like she knows about the scent bond and the bond, but she doesn't know about the bond. And
I think she knew first. I think she knew right after, you know, he lost his pack and then he lost his brother and then all this shit happened. So I think that she was like, okay, I can't put anything else on his plate right now. And I think that's why she was using I forget what they call it.
A scent blocker.
Yeah. There's like a word for it.
That's what it is in the fandom I follow for APO. It's a scent blocker.
Yeah, but there's like a word for it that I used to always see in books, but I forget what it is right now. But I think that's what she's been using. And that's what he's been scenting. And so then I think after the Asteri were killed and like basically the biggest threats were gone, she's like, oh, I'm going to try to maybe reintroduce him to my new scent. And that's why he's like, it's so different than what I was smelling before.
Well,
what is happening?
It starts right after she takes the antidote.
Yeah.
So her scent is amplified because her magic is now amplified. And that old Fae heritage is coming through, which is making their mate bond even more. So he doesn't understand it because he's like, okay, we've been masked for so long that this is all new senses. This is all new smells. And I don't know how to process it because our instincts have been so diluted that now our instincts are saying, hey, we've been wanting to be in charge for a while and you've not been letting us be in charge.
I feel like they are very much like Gwynriel in the way that they're going to be like friends to lovers. But, I mean, they're already friends. They were already best friends.
Yeah.
So they kind of more than Gwynriel.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, him and Gwen were acquaintances, but they weren't already friends. Like book one, they were already best friends. Like, oh, Ethan and Harry are already best friends. Her sister's a piece of shit, and I wish Amelie would die, but who knows? But like they were already best friends, and like when the pack abandoned him, she would still call him, text him, warn him of everything. Oh, meet me here so I can tell you more info. Meet me here. So it's like she did all of this like to her own detriment too, because she could have gotten kicked out of the pack for that.
Yeah.
You know, she could have had to have gone rogue for that. And she still did it for him.
Now, another thing that happens in ABO is if you're kicked out of a pack, the entire pack shuns you.
Yeah.
Your scent is no longer enjoyed.
That's what they did to Ethan. Yeah. They could have done it to her.
But Perry, she never gave up on him. What? And I think that's because they have a scent bond and a mate bond. Because you can't give up on your mate and your scent bonded mate, you know? Like you can't, like if you are compatible with this person,
it is intrinsic.
It's intrinsic. It's that instinct that this is my person, this is my mate. So she can't shun him. His scent is not disgusting to her, you know? So
that's why I always point out, I was like, she was so there for him in the first book, and everyone's like, I didn't even pay attention to her, and she's like a nothing character. And I was like, no, it's so important. And I get so mad that people like brush over her because I loved her so much. I was like, she's pretty much the only person that gave Ethan a fucking will to live.
Yes.
Literally. Bryce was ignoring it.
She's the reason he's even alive. She dumped him on Bryce's doorstep.
Yeah. And even when Hell attacked, when the Hell monsters attacked and stuff, she fucking stayed to meet with him and fight with him.
Yeah.
Against the pack's orders.
Yeah.
Like, I love her so much. And they're like so young, like I get it, but they're gonna be so cute. I love them so much. And
I agree. I fell in love with them in the first book. I was like, Perry's the one I like. Yeah. I love Ethan.
That's why I got really mad when I thought she was switching to Sigrid.
Yeah. I was like, how are we going to deal with this? Because I was really, and I felt like I was that Rune and Hypaxia situation again. Yeah. Because I really liked Rune with Pax. Really loved Rune with Pax.
Yeah, they were cute.
It was very
I wasn't sure if it was going to last, but I was like, they are really cute even as friends.
Well, I just felt like all the markers were there for them being mates because he liked her scent and he liked her voice.
Yeah.
And he respected her. And I was like, okay.
I didn't know just because it was like forced by his father. So I felt like, okay, he's a rebel. He's going to absolutely hate that his father's going to get his own way. And he's just going to rebel against this, whatever it is.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is he met her on his own terms, not knowing who she was. And I love that trope. I love when you're like engaged to someone that you haven't met and then you accidentally meet them in a different setting and then you find out later on that that's your
I knew she was the fucking witch.
Oh, I did too. I texted my friends. I was like, "Oh, he just met his mate. He just met his
I was like, watch this be Hypaxia and adore her or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, she's not even named. We haven't even met her yet. I was like, mark my fucking words.
Yeah. I texted my friends. I was like, oh, Rune just met his betrothal, the person his dad wants him to marry. And they're like, who are you talking about? I was like, the Med Witch. And they're like, how do you know that's his betrothal? I was like, because he really likes her. And I like the trope where you meet the person that you don't want to marry in a different setting. Yeah. And fall in love with them that way.
And you like them.
It's the Sleeping Beauty story.
Yep.
Prince Philip met Briar Rose outside of the castle walls and fell in love with them and then found out that that was his actual wife.
Which would go so fucking well with Brylan as well. Yeah. If she like met him outside the spring court.
Oh yeah, that would be really cute.
In my fanfic, she actually re-meets him at Vivian's High Lady coronation.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, they like obviously he like freaks the fuck out and like winnows away.
Oh, poor Tam.
Yeah, well, she like their hands brush and then the thing snaps and then like she's like, oh no, and then of course Tamlin with his very bad self-loathing is like, oh no, she fucking hates me, and she like winnowed out. Because he was hurt. And she's like, that's not what I meant. Because, you know, people have warned her about him. So she kind of like knew who he was when he was there. Obviously, like the High Lord power, you can kind of sense it. And she was like, oh, I said the wrong thing. Shit. But I was like, I wanted her to like not meet him in his court. Like, I didn't want to do the same trope and all the fics that everyone was doing where it's like, oh, she's sent by winter to help heal spring. Like, that'll probably be what happens. But I want to do something really different for my fic. So I go, everyone knows that, you know, Vivian's going to become a High Lady. We know that she's very dramatic. I feel like she would want a proper coronation, especially after she gave birth to his child. Yeah. You're getting me a party, bitch, or I'll freeze your balls off.
So, he would give it to her and it would be justified.
Yeah. You know? So like I feel like she would have like a coronation, and I was thinking like an Elsa thing, like a coronation where all the courts are there and all this stuff. And so Lucian's like, you have to go to the coronation. And he's like, I'm not going to this party. And he's like, you have to go to this party. And so he's like, fine, whatever. And he like relents. So then obviously Briar's there because she's been living there. She's friends with Vivian. And they just like go to reach for the same thing. And it's like the little brush of the hands thing. And then they like look at each other. And then she's like, oh no. And he's like, fuck. And he just like winnows out because he can't handle it.
Oh. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope for announcement. Bye.
Bye.